we always do. Any special intentions?
I do have one.
Ronnie?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I guess most of y'all know that I do play men's hardball, baseball, still at my age, unbelievably. And one of my teammates that I've been playing with for years, I've traveled with him to Arizona, Florida, playing ball all over the nation with him. He had a severe heart attack while pitching on the mound Sunday at St. Charles Catholic. Last word we got that he was still in ICU on a ventilator, but showed some type of response. So hopefully, with any luck, we'll get Bo back out there in the field, maybe in a couple of years. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, I'll do the prayer today. Haven't done it yet. Dear God, as we get here today to do the Kenner budget, please help us in all the departments to discern the best interest of our city, to determine the best funding sources available, and to help the citizens of Kenner for which we were elected. With that, I'll say, as I do in my faith, the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, and deliver us from evil. Thy kingdom, thy power, and thy glory yours, now and forever. Amen.
Amen.
I'm going to ask Christy McKinney. Councilwoman McKinney, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir. We will start this morning with the police department.
Police Chief, you're up.
All right, well, thank y'all for your time and your consideration. I'm going to turn it over to our CPA, Will Vanderbrook, because it deals with numbers.
One second. Natalie, every time we go into a segment, can you just announce the page so we
Absolutely.
can just flip to it?
Yes, we will.
Yeah. Mayor Glazer, do you want to do an overview first before we begin?
Yeah, just briefly.
Okay. 1 minute, Chief. Apologies.
And when I fumble with this new microphone, it's kind of a touch, and it's been a challenge so far this morning. All right, we met with y'all a couple times, a couple of weeks ago, and presented you with this proposed budget. It's for $125.4 million, which includes $56.1 million for the general fund, $41.7 million in special revenue funds, $6.3 million for debt service, $6.3 million for capital improvements, and $15 million for enterprise funds. We're in a little better position this year than we were last year at the same time, and the budget's going to show. We worked hard to eliminate some positions that were just historically unfilled. We also combined the Department of Field Services back into Public Works, which eliminates the need for another department director. With eliminating some of the unfilled positions, we were able to save about $1.5 million that can be reallocated in a general fund. Compared to last year's budget, we will be pulling $6.45 million less from the fund balance this year. So it's a lot less, and it's no surprise that the fire millage is pretty much accounts for most or all of it. But I guess it doesn't show up a lot in a budget, but it does have a lot of effect on our budget, is the S&P Global ratings for our bonds. Just recently, we moved from unstable to stable and have an A- rating, which is, I'd like to thank Elizabeth for all her hard work dealing with this to get it back to that. And we're going to have to address that in the near future to kind of go through our wastewater service fees. Our Recreation Department has the most vacancies, Overall vacancy in the city of unfilled positions is 8%. The sad part about, running a government and dealing with health insurance is our health insurance costs are going to be up an additional $784,000 as compared to last year, which is a 13.5% increase. And we've been dealing with this now for at least 2.5 months because you don't have the history. We're not going on a 12-month experience. We're going on pretty much a 10, 11 and guessing at what the last would be. So not a lot of people bid on municipal health insurance anymore. And Blue Cross Blue Shield is the one that, is 13.5% increase. And that's, unless something shockingly changes, that's pretty much what it's going to remain. Built in this budget is I'm recommending a 3% increase for all municipal employees as well as a 2% pay increase for fire and police employees. It kind of flip-flops last year. They got a little more than municipal this year. We're just kind of trying to keep it even. And you'll see that in the budget. Revenues are projected to be up $1.35 million by fiscal year end. So the treasure chest is coming on board. That should put a lot in our capital. You're not going to see a lot, but I caution you, when they open soon is what they say, you're going to see the spike in attendance, and then it's probably going to level off as the newness wears off and you get to a better, understanding of how much revenue that's going to generate. It's going to be a lot in the beginning, and then it's going to taper off and kind of stabilize. We'd like to have them stay as excited as it is, and people just go every day and spend all their free time there. So, and lastly, we're not going to, $1.54 million from the general fund and sales tax is no longer needed to fund garbage service. So those are the main things in this budget that if you don't highlight it, it just goes pretty much unnoticed. And that's it. If you have any questions, I can answer them, or if you just want to go through, and the department directors are here to answer any question if you have specific line item questions for them.
Council, any questions for Mayor Glazer at this time? Okay.
Right.
Councilman Brannigan.
I just think that it's an incredible deal when you look at that hitting the general fund last year for like 14.7, and we ended up to project it as 1.5. That's incredible. That's huge. So.
Councilwoman McKinney.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to comment that everything was very straightforward, very understandable. I think that this is a good, solid budget, and I'm looking forward to not asking that many questions.
Okay.
Oh, right.
Anybody else? Okay. Without further ado, Police Chief Conley, you're up. Okay.
Good morning. Good morning. Can everyone speak? The first page of where the police department budget starts is on page 20, which is a summary of the general fund expenses by department. These are basically the summaries by division inside the police department. As you'll see, it's under public safety. Starts in the middle of page 20. Police administrative services, police communications, police field services, police investigative services. Next page on 21 is police support services, and then police jail. The total public safety is right below that. Our budget for 24-25 is $24,096,497, which is a 3.2% increase from the previous year's amended budget. The primary reasons for that is the 2% raise that the mayor was talking about that we budgeted, and also a 2.1% increase in pension funds for the municipal police department. That fund, that percentage is now 35.6 that the employer or the police department picks up on behalf of its police officers. If we flip back to page 82, we'll start the detail on the police department. 82 is another summary of the administrative services. Page 83 shows you line by line the detail of the summaries we just looked at. Actually, the police administrative services is going down 6.6% for the year. We flip over to page 84 and 85. Police communications is going up 9.5% for the year. Page 86 and 87 is the field services. That's going up 5.2%. That's our road police officers, where the bulk of our money is spent. Page 88 and 89, investigative service, the detective group, going up 1.7%. Page 90 and 91 is support services, going up 12%. If I'm not mistaken, that includes the SWAT guys and all the other support for the road, police officers. Crime scene. And page 92 and 93 is the jail, going up 6.5%. Like I said, the overall increase for the year is 3.2%, which includes a 2% raise and also a 2.1% increase in the state municipal police employees' retirement. Be happy to entertain any questions on some of the details.
I do want to add that we are expecting to get some appropriations to the state. Representative Villio has already sent some money that was actually backed out of this budget, and Senator Talbot usually has some appropriations for us. We are actively pursuing grants. As you know, this council approved the COPS grant, which is a 54% match, where you basically have 2 officers for 1. That's on a reimbursement type program, so, you know, as that money comes in, it'll probably soften the budget.
Councilwoman McKinney?
Yes, thank you. The only question I had was, with regard to that, is I know it's reimbursable, so is it included in the budget? And then it'll,
Yes.
when you get reimbursed, it'll just be backed out and
Yes.
reallocated?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
thanks.
Anybody else? Chief, I saw 25,000 for the jail capital outlays, or some kind of expansion you're doing, or I think you told me about it once. I don't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah, well, we're responsible for washing and drying linens and the orange jumpsuits and stuff like that. That wash is probably 23 years old. I think it came with the building. So when we ask all our directors for a wish list, that didn't make it the last 2 years, but I think it's on its last bearing.
Okay. Thank you. What's that? Councilwoman McKinney?
Yes. I just want to clarify, for capital expenses, do you guys have capital expenses listed, or is that separate?
Yes, I believe
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken, when we met once before,
Right,
we had a
yes.
list.
Yes.
And it was 1.7 million.
Okay.
Now it's 1.2 million because the $500,000 for the Axon cameras, the body cameras, is being paid for by a state grant.
Okay.
So that was pulled out of this budget since the last time.
Okay, perfect. And I just wanted to do it before you guys left, that's why I asked, right?
Councilman Wilmot?
Yeah, as far as your budget, Chief, you have a set fund, and how much is this coming out of our city fund?
Out of the general fund?
Yes.
Pretty much all of it. You know, we're totally dependent on the general fund. We do, like I stated, we do go up to Baton Rouge and get appropriations, you know, beg for money from our state officials. Yeah, close to $19 million is what's
Funding formula.
the burden to the general fund.
Repeat that again,
The
please.
funding formula, I'm assuming you're requesting how much of our budget was part of the funding formula that's set in ordinance? And you want to know how much more than the funding formula the police department got?
Yes, sir.
Yes, roughly $19 million was the funding formula.
And your budget, how much was it this year?
24.
24.
So about 5 million.
So if we add those two together, the 19 and the 24, that's what we get up to the total?
No, 19 plus 5.
19
Five's
plus-
coming out of the general, that's the
That's
24
what I'm
total.
getting at.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
That's what
yes, 5 million.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have, thank you.
Anyone else? Do we move procedurally to the next one at this point, or what's the I don't remember, to be honest with you. Move to the next department, okay.
Sir.
Do we move to approve this segment, or we do that all at the
No.
end?
No, you don't approve
This is
anything
just a
tonight.
hearing. You're going,
We're not approving anything.
Understand.
you come back, what, in June 6th and vote on it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Police Chief Conley, I hope you're getting everything you want out of this. You have a very friendly council up here, and we fund anything your department needs at all times. Sometimes we do extra during the year, too. I remember we funded those blast shields, and I really hope that helped that situation last Sunday.
Absolutely help, yeah.
And if you ever need anything else during the period of time, you have 7 people up here that I would meet in a separate council meeting just for you if you need it. So you let us know, okay?
Well, look, I've always touted your support, and I'm proud to have your support because, you know, we're all at the common goal of keeping the city safe, and I certainly appreciate everybody reaching out over the last week or two and showing up for the police department. We certainly thank you all.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Mr. Vandenberg, thank you for being here, too.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on at this point to the fire department. And can you announce the page number, please?
148.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Fire Chief Morris, good morning.
Good morning.
You ready to rock and roll?
Yes, sir.
All righty, let's go.
I've been rocking and rolling for the last 24 hours, sir. Currently, fire department, we are fully staffed. We've been fully staffed for the past year or so. Actually, one or two bodies over because of the attrition and retirement, through retirements and through resignations. We just received our class rating from PL, and I'm happy to report that the fire department, we are one of the highest rated departments in the state. We ended up going up about 6 points from where we were the last rating. In 2019, we're now at a 98.16 rating out of a possible 106. I think it's only one department in the state that's rated higher than we are, and that's good because it's approximately 560 departments in the state, and we all get measured along those same metrics. So for us to end up approximately number 2 out of 560 departments speaks volumes to the work and effort that the men of the fire department put forward. As we go into this budget season, as you guys know, we are deficient in several areas. We have old apparatus, and actually we have 2 Jefferson Parish apparatuses that our frontline apparatus that we're looking to replace. We have 1 unit that's on order, but it's about 24 months out from delivery, and we anticipate with the new millage passing, and thanks to you guys and the taxpayers and all who put in the effort to get the millage passed, we're able to put in a plan to purchase apparatus over a rotating schedule so that the city doesn't fall into this position where we're operating with less than recommended age on our fire apparatus. So going forward, we should be able to maintain a Class 1 for the city of Kenner for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And we're not going to get into the specifics on the budget, but a lot of the changes that we made in the budget this year is focusing on training, because we can have the highest class rating and some of the best equipment, but if we don't have the trained personnel getting off the units to mitigate any incident that happened in the city of Kenner, what good is it? Like I said, all of these things go hand in hand, so that's where we focus a lot of our attention on with our budget going forward. In addition to purchasing updated equipment, is getting the guys trained and repairing some of the aid stations.
Okay. So obviously the $6 million we transferred last year in the general fund's not going to occur this time because of the millage, correct?
Yes,
Sarah?
correct. So when you see the transfer, it'll be 0 in general fund, but a portion of the capital request, their capital sits in the capital fund, unlike
Okay.
police. So we are transferring something to fire. I don't want people to think we're not transferring anything. It's just through capital.
Okay.
Additionally, what's not included in this budget is, I know we had talked about possibly bonding out money to cover the new station.
Yes.
Because that hasn't happened, and I don't know what, y'all will decide, we did not include it But if we do take that loan out, we would have to cover the first payment in this budget cycle. So we would be amending the budget later down the line, and I would expect general fund to cover that. So with the funding that the fire department has, they're actually able to use $433,000 to put towards capital as well. So they had enough to cover their operations with a little extra for capital.
And the new fire station, that's the Dew Street station?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I get a couple of emails every month. I mean, the status of that is, I know Mayor Glazer discussed this, we're going to potentially bond it out. Do we have any type of timing on that so I can tell my constituents?
Yes, I bet you if you get Elizabeth 30 seconds, she can tell you every date.
That's
'cause
going to be
it's-
the number one question I
It
get.
is. I mean, it comes to y'all June, maybe, then goes to bond commission, July.
Yeah,
Okay.
we should have the the first draft of the resolution next week, and we would be asking y'all to adopt it at the same meeting as the June 6th meeting, the same as the budget. So that's just the resolution to go to bond council. Once we go through that whole process, an ordinance would have to be read into summary in July. We would close on the loan in September. So
And then we bid
we're
it out.
thinking by October, yeah, and we're preparing to meet with the contractor just to make sure on the city side that we're prepared as soon as we get that money to move forward with construction.
Okay. So the earliest time period is probably later this fall
Yes. Mhm.
for actual
Yeah, I think October-ish you'll start seeing some movement over there.
Yeah, it's-
groundbreaking.
It's ready to go because it was a design build.
That's great.
They're just waiting for the go-ahead, and we just need bond commission to give us the approval, and then they can start.
Okay. That's the number one thing for you right now, right? Is that new station?
I'm sorry?
That's the number one thing or item out there. That's the question I get all the time from constituents
Right.
about the fire
Yeah,
department.
yeah, it's like one of the number one things, because
Okay.
I have like
I
several.
know there's other
number-
things
yeah,
too. I'm not
so-
saying there's nothing else, but that's
Like I
just,
said, they all, councilmen go hand in hand, like I said, the equipment, the training, the personnel, all
Okay.
these things, so we gotta stay on top of all those, because if you allow any one of them to slip, you end up in the deficit, and then you're trying to fight your way back to, a top status.
but obviously the millage is going to allow us to be class one for a long time. And
Yes.
it's going to, okay. Any other council questions? Councilman Brennan?
Thank you, Council Chair. And just, Ms. Harry, just to clarify, when you talk about the October date, you're hoping that's groundbreaking?
That's gonna be, so we have to, Jose can talk a little more.
Well, the plans are probably about 97% complete. Best case scenario, yes, groundbreaking in, mid-October, late October. Just like the mayor said, it's a design-build, type of project, so we do have a contractor on board. So yes, best case scenario, October, but I'm looking
Hopefully
more,
again by the end of the
I'm
year.
looking at more like November perhaps.
All right, good deal. Thank you. Thank you, Council Chair.
Anybody else? Councilman, all three of y'all just did this. I'm good. Councilwoman D. Dunn first.
Since this is in my district, I want to know, we will, I don't like repeating myself, but basically, we will be going into some type of movement around November. That's what you're saying? Starting with the construction.
Yes, if it goes according to, if y'all approve the resolution, it goes to bond commission, they approve it, approve our loan, close on the loan, yes. I mean, it's ready to go. I think Jose has a meeting Tuesday with all the players involved, so everybody's ready when the money, is transferred to us. He can give them a notice to proceed and it can start.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Schwartz?
Thank you, sir. I guess one of the things that you'll notice in the budget more than anything is an increase in training. Can't say enough about what we need for training for the fire department, just like the police department, all emergency services. We need to keep the fresh ideas, keep everybody up to date on the latest techniques and the latest equipment that's out there. So I know it's more, but Chief, we're in for you, all right?
Thank you.
Keep those guys trained.
Yes.
Councilwoman McKinney?
Thank you, Council Chair, Council President. I just wanted to ask specifically, I was noticing in fire suppression, the salaries actually and maybe this is a Liz question as well, the salary percentage actually decreases from the amended budget for this year, and I was expecting that to see that number increase. Can you explain that?
Yeah, they did have a good bit of retirees that were at that higher level. So as those are rolling off and the new employees are coming on, you'll see a slight change for that.
Okay, because it was like down 8.4%, so that was
Right.
kind of high, given.
Yeah, I think we just had a lot of newer,
Okay, so
on the
newer
lower
people
scale,
and then-
yeah.
okay,
We
cycling
did
out.
include, an adjustment that would take place in January. That's in the pay study
The
adjustment.
pay study adjustments, okay, great. Okay, that's what I wanted to ask, and I think that is the only question that I had with regard to that, because everything else, is the fire department raises or the increase, the 2%, is that built into this budget, or is that
Yes.
somewhere else? Okay, it's in here.
That's built into the budget.
Okay, great, thank you.
Right.
Anybody else?
Yes, sir.
We good?
All right. Chief Morse, thank you for coming today. Really appreciate it. Look forward to another great year. Next up, we have the planning department. 62.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I just didn't know that.
Please tell him he has 3 minutes.
No, Wendy, you gotta stand up.
Oh, okay, no problem. I can talk just as long standing up. Is this where I make my 15-minute opening statement?
This isn't a,
I gotta have fun back, right?
it's not a trial. Just 15-minute open statement.
Well, actually, I do want to say that I'm really happy to be here. I really, really enjoy working in the city of Canton with all of you on the council and with the administration. And it's always an enjoyable experience for me whenever I have to deal with you all, regardless of what we're dealing with. I always have a good time. Even when the mayor screws with me, I still like it. I mean, I know it's a very small budget and department, but I mean, you know, I'm happy to answer a question or two.
So you don't have the associate specialist anymore?
No,
You're doing away with
we're-
that position?
We are, right now, we do not need any other assistants in the planning department. I think, you know, I think the administration finds, and then y'all will find that with our current staffing, we're very responsive to things that are taking place, and if y'all need something, we're on it. So we don't, you know, we're sufficiently busy, but we're not to the point where I feel like it would be useful for the city to waste money, or I'd say waste, spend money on another employee that I can't come to you and give you the specifics of why we need that other employee.
Okay. All right, anybody else from council? Questions? Councilman Brannigan?
I just want to tell you, it's a pleasure working with you. You always have the I's dotted and the T's crossed when we're going through different scenarios. And you have an incredible amount of wisdom in this spot. And that goes a long way when you're dealing with some of the questions that pop up from some of these residents and what they're trying to accomplish. So,
Well, I have been doing this a very long time, and before I came to the city of Kenner, I had extensive experience dealing with all neighborhood associations and all the elected officials in Jefferson Parish. Worked closely with a lot of them for a lot of years, so yeah, I'm very comfortable in situations like that. And also, I would like to make sure that everyone, I'd like to give a shout out to my assistant director, Christopher Slowinski, because he has been a phenomenal assistant director since I hired him. He's exceeded all my expectations, and I am completely comfortable with him when I'm not around, or if I'm out of the office on a vacation or something. You should have full confidence in Christopher that he can basically deal with you the same way that I will. He will be able to get you. And also, I want to make a note that I know some of y'all have asked in the past, but if your assistants would like to get in touch with us, we are happy to come to your office or wherever they are and walk you through how to use our online GIS system and some of the other things that we have in the planning department. I mean, I know you get a lot of questions. I get them from you about properties and stuff. We're happy to come show you exactly how to get the information right at your fingertips. Not that I don't like hearing from you. I enjoy hearing from you, but whenever y'all want, we're happy to come do that. We'll come out and show everyone how to use it.
Councilwoman McKinney.
Thank you, Council President. My only question, well, I just also want to say thank you for all your assistance. I think George said that.
That's okay.
So I would be offended.
I don't mind. I'm 60 years old. I have no problem owning up to my age.
I mean, he killed other people off, so it's all relative. At least he didn't announce special intentions for you.
I'll take all the special intentions you want to throw my way. It can't hurt.
My only question is if, I know you obviously eliminated position, but are there, and this is probably a global question, if you get an answer, we won't have to ask other questions. Are the 2% or the raises for everyone, is it built in or is it not pay incentives?
No, so for the, only fire and police were built into their budget. City will be in the pay incentive
Pay
funds.
incentives.
Mhm.
Okay, great, thank you.
Anybody else? Councilwoman Dunn.
Oh, Wendell, thank you so much. I know you probably get more calls from me than anybody.
It's okay.
But,
That's why I'm here.
Learning to go into the system, I love calling you and just asking. That's just more work for me, but thank you anyway.
All right, Director Dufour, appreciate you being here.
That's it. Thank you all
so
very
much.
much. Good luck
Absolutely.
with the rest of the.
You got it. All right, up next we have the Pontchartrain Center.
Yes, sir, it's on page 197.
Okay.
We're gonna cover that. Nobody's gonna be here, so if you have any questions,
That's
one of
fine.
us will be able to.
Can you just give an overview, please? $197, okay. All right, still at a net loss.
Yeah, so we're still running at a loss. Our expenses are coming in higher than what our revenues are. I know we signed a contract extension recently with them for this fiscal year, so trying to work with them to come up with ways where revenue can increase. But I mean, operating revenues aren't covering.
Yeah,
operating
in some of their, in speaking with them, some of their problems are they're still damaged facility.
Yeah,
So
so
that's
we just accepted a bid yesterday to repair all the sheetrock and all that from Ida. So we're hoping, once those repairs are made, they're able to maybe bring in new renters.
How much of the funds go to the managing company, SMG, from this? Can you explain how that works again?
I can guarantee you I can't explain it, and I'm not sure
If it's tasted.
anyone can really explain it.
So basically, we're covering everything. So they receive revenue, and any type of loss, we are covering it.
Yeah, I
So they're
understand
paying
that.
utilities and things like that, and that's coming out of here. But whenever there's a shortage for the month where they didn't, have enough revenue to cover all of their salaries and everything, all overhead, then we have to cover the difference. So this is what is budgeted. It's budgeted at a loss, but, if they're not gonna hit those revenue numbers, those expenses are still coming in, and the general fund will have to pay it. So it's definitely, I think for years we've been kind of talking about this, and it's not the best situation we're in, but, we conquered fire. We're focusing on wastewater right now. and maybe take a harder look at the Civic Center. It's hard because, you know, it's events that are given back to the community. I mean, people's proms and graduation and everything. So typically it's not a money maker, but we got to try to figure out some kind of other funding.
April and May are their biggest revenue months because of graduations, kind of, you know, the dance recitals and a couple of Mardi Gras balls that are in there. The issue we have is it's kind of outdated, and they don't have enough breakout rooms for some of the actual conventions that would want to come and use the facility. I know y'all just upgraded, or I guess last summer. It's old, just like every other building, and like the card swipe security system has been replaced or being replaced. That's the stuff that has kind of been neglected through the years. They continue to ask for air-conditioned equipment, which is, these are big-ticket items. Like, just to give you an example, there's one pot, which I've never heard of in my life before, in the kitchen there, that's about $100,000, we were told. So everything in there is big ticket. You know, it's just not a big empty gym. It's got
And
a lot of.
this is all us, nothing to do with Jefferson. There's
No, it's
that's,
all
yeah,
us.
that's what I.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to add that in addition to what you're seeing as a loss through the Pontchartrain Center, it doesn't take into consideration any economic development or tourism dollars that may be coming into the city. We did move the Visit Kenner office into the Pontchartrain Center. I believe that's helped a lot. But I can give you a specific example. The robotics competition that was just held for high school students. I mean, we had people from out of the country coming and staying in hotels in Kenner. I mean, teams of 25 students with their teachers, and I think there were only 2 local teams. So that's just something else to keep in mind.
Yeah,
Not saying that we don't need to take a look at it, but.
No, it's a great community development, and it's in my district, and I know that it's really important for everyone. And I know we used to have the wrestling championships there, the volleyball championships, and those other cities have pulled that from us, basically offering everything for free. And whether we can brainstorm and do the same thing, because
Well, I met with the people that put on the wrestling, and they're paid to go up north.
they're actually paid.
They paid to go
Okay,
up north.
that's
So
another wrinkle I wasn't aware
Yeah,
of.
but we have talked about smaller regional wrestling matches being held there. So they're very interested in that.
And the girls volleyball as well. I mean, some of those matches I've seen a ridiculous amount of people show up for
Yeah,
those.
We just don't have enough floor space for all of that.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else on the Pontchartrain Center? Councilman Brannigan?
When you look at the numbers, last year's adopted budget and amended budget, the loss was 545 to 500 and basically 60,000. And this year our projection's at 358. So we're trending in a good way. And I really think that, you know, what Ms. Newton said about the people coming into the city, that when you factor that in, that could be close to offset. I mean, depending on how much money they're spending here. But I think we're trending in the right direction. I think that we need to stay on the Pontchartrain Center to make sure to book as much stuff as they can book, because that will cut our losses significantly.
Councilwoman McKinney?
I just have a historical question for Liz. With regard to, obviously, we could see the subsidy for 2023, but how much has the subsidy varied? And I'm talking, you know, I think we've always subsidized the Pontchartrain Center
Yeah.
for the 30-plus years it's been, but I'm just wondering, where does this rank in how
Yeah,
the subsidy?
it's trending, it's like, so obviously the COVID year impacted us huge. I mean, we were.
So it's lower than
paying
that.
it.
See, that's
Yeah,
good.
It is good.
Plus.
It's been much lower than it has been in previous years. So they are making changes. We are seeing it move in the right direction, but there's just still a little bit more work to do.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, the COVID year, I think it was like $1 million we had to cover.
Which
so,
makes sense.
yeah.
I mean, there weren't
They
as
weren't
many
having
activities. I mean, then you never
exactly.
have graduations that year, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, so, thanks.
All right, anybody else in the Pontchartrain Center? Seeing none, let's move to clerk of court, please.
Page 76.
All right.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Luis Rodriguez, Director of the Clerk of Court.
Good morning. Thanks
This
for
is the
coming.
proposed 24-25 budget. Please let me know if you guys have any questions.
Councilman McKinney?
Hello, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good. I just have one question. What professional services, I'm just curious about what your professional services include?
That's Digicom.
Digicom?
The
Okay.
company who runs the court system.
Okay, so the court
And
system.
there's extra money in there to merge Laserfish, which is the data management system from the Kenner
Okay.
Police Department. And we're still in the works trying to get that coded through Digicom and Kenner Police.
Okay, great. And I mean, it looks good because you guys are overall decreasing, so,
Yes.
thanks.
So it's decreasing from 954,000 to 941 proposed. So 1.3% drop?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Keeping the same positions, not adding any, not taking any away?
Correct.
Okay. Everything's operating well at the clerk's
Yes,
office?
sir.
Okay.
Well, yes, sir.
Okay.
Can I add a tidbit that?
Go ahead.
May change? The last raise for our ad hoc magistrates, the ones that come in, we only have one full-time judge, is Lozano. His last raise was in 2018, it was 2%. The last raise for the ad hocs was in 2008, and it was from $250 to $300 a session. So it's the morning and afternoon, from whatever time they start, no more 8:30 to, I guess, lunch, and then they come back, I think, at 1 till they're finished their docket. We may look at trying to see if that's something we need to increase at all, you know, because you got an attorney that's making $300 an hour in a private practice, and we ask him to come here and spend the whole afternoon, the whole morning for, you know, what he gets paid an hour. At least, that's government rates. You know, private rates is a little, you know, it's not Wilmot's salary, you know, way up there, but it's almost. No, but we'll look at it. So that may change. If it does change, you know, we'll let you know before.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Mr. Rodriguez. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to community development.
Development's on page 168.
Ms. Tamithia Shaw, good morning. Mr. All moral support? Okay. All right. I'm sorry, what was the page number again, Natalie?
168.
168. Okay, the floor is yours.
So, just Tamithia Shaw, I'm the Federal Program Compliance Director, and a part of my duties is overseeing the administration of the Community Development Department as well as the Citizen Services Department. So I'm here today with Mr. Juan Jones, who's here to present, answer any questions that you may have for our 24-25 fiscal year. As you all know, we receive federal funding in addition to the general funds that goes into running the department. The department is overseeing all of the federal funding from HUD, as well as overseeing our Hispanic Resource Center, overseeing our Martin Luther King Center, as well as overseeing our Mabel Trepanier Brown Kenner Senior Center. Ms. Jones has been here over 35 years in the city, so we're lucky to have her still here with the institutional knowledge, because even though we all may change, she has remained with the community, and everyone knows her.
Okay. Thanks for coming today, Ms. Jones.
Thank you.
So I know the home program is 20% of some of these salaries, and then that's the federal department.
That's the federal portion.
Okay.
Yes, correct.
And they've really dived into this, okay, so, and that's 13% of the directors cover, 20% of the program coordinator. So why does the percentage differ? Do y'all know?
Because we are trying to cover as much as we can of the salaries
Okay.
so the city doesn't have to offset that with the general fund.
Exactly.
It's easier because the program coordinator 3 makes less money, so we're covering more of her salary, and she's doing more of the duties because we have to account under HUD's rules of how we're accounting for, because the director is a cost all of our departments and responsibilities. So hers is on everything that we have here, and our program manager is doing the bulk of the work. So when HUD says, well, how's this person working every day?
Sure.
The majority of the work is done by the program coordinator running that, but the director still has oversight.
And I know federal rules can change all the time. Is there occasions where they pay more, or maybe they'll fund an entirely
Only
new
when
position?
When we got the CV money, we were able to request additional funding for our home funds as far as administration, because usually it's 10% annually. During some of the years, we got 25% and 20%. So the city gets more money because they understand it's more work during those times.
I'm sure you're very much in tune, going after as much federal money as we can to help your office. So I really appreciate y'all. I know Timothy would not let any penny go to waste from the feds for her job. So, but it looks good. It looks like pretty much it's going down a little bit, I think. Or was it going? Hold on, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'll defer to anybody else right now. Do you have any other questions, Council? Councilwoman McKinney?
I know, shocker, I have a question. Thank you, Council President. I just have a question about the administration. I know you're hiring some instructors, or planning to hire some part-time instructors. What are they, like, what's the plans for those? I have a couple of other questions. So what's the plans for those?
Those instructors work for our after-school program.
Okay.
We have it, been having it for years at the Centers, Hispanic and the MLK Center. So once we get that program back on, those instructors.
Great, perfect. That's kind of stuff I want to hear.
Okay.
Let's see. So for community, on the community development overall activity directory, there's an increase in the salary portion. Is that just because the allocations changed? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. And are there anything that you want to draw our attention to beyond, what you said? I mean, do you need any additional support from us? I know so the after-school programs, I know that's zeroed out, but that's just moved to the front of the budget.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else that you need from us? Support?
As we move forward, we'll look at, and we'll work with the administration to see how many people, because as you all know, the economy is having more people come into the office seeking more services. And that means that we have to have more personnel who have the ability to do, most of the people in our office, staff members have degrees. They have college degrees because of the work and the high level that HUD requires for the administration of the program. So I think we're the only department where most of our employees have the degrees in the administrative office. So as the need grows, we may be looking for more people. So that's the only change that we would request in the future. Right now, we're trying to manage with the staff that we have. But if we feel like it's a need, then we will request additional funding as that need grows, and we have to help the community as they come in.
Great, thank you. And with regard to, I guess, just kind of touching on that, and obviously there is a great need for that. Have they had any, with regard to, I know there's like a greater amount of homeless, not necessarily in Kenner, hopefully. I mean, the only good thing about Williams Boulevard, all that construction, is that we don't see homeless people on the corners anymore because there are no corners. But
But, I mean, have you guys been more active with regard to that, obviously?
We've gotten a lot more calls for service for people who are, the biggest call comes from people who are facing evictions right now. We do see this at a time, and we're cognizant of school is about to end also. So we have a lot more calls during the summer. And actually, the mayor appointed me to the task force with Councilman Dino Bonanno for the JP Homeless Task Force. So we're studying the numbers in Jefferson Parish, which includes the municipality of the city of Kenner. So we're going to be studying the needs, because while we don't have a lot of street homelessness, which is those people you see outside living on the street, but we do have a lot of people who don't have permanent places of housing. So we're gearing our funding to helping those people get into some sort of housing and working with the parish to see how we can achieve that.
Right, well, great, thank you for your work, and let us know if, I actually do need to touch base with you, because I have an idea with regard to reaching out for churches and building relationships with them between the cities, so I'll definitely be in touch.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Dunn.
Under the rebuilding, and I understand that some of that was really torn down because of the hurricane. Are we going to move forward with any of that coming up, the building, rebuilding of these facilities?
Yes, we have worked with the parish to a part of our hometown revitalization grant. The parish received a grant. It's for the entire parish, including the municipalities. We're working with them through our hometown revitalization grant to see if we can rebuild our AP Clay Center. And then we're working with the parish also. We've received some funding, but of course it's not enough to rebuild our Annie Washington Center. As many of you who were here before knew, we were working on it, and the building was almost, I think, 87 to 90% complete when Hurricane Ida hit. Unfortunately, we got an engineered report which says that because of the damage done to the building and the cost to fix the damage, it would be easier to demolish and rebuild the building. So we have some funding available for that. We're working to get additional funding, because that will be another building that will be, open to the public. What we did learn through COVID is that we can't necessarily have a shelter anymore, because during COVID you couldn't put people in the same room. So this would be considered non-congregate shelter, which means that each person would have their own room as opposed to putting people in a big room. So that's what we're moving forward, and that's what we're looking to do, just trying to get the additional funding. One thing we're waiting on right now, Councilwoman Dunn, is the city doesn't have the money to demolish the building. So we're waiting on HUD right now. We've reached out to our field office director. She's sent it up to HUD headquarters that we can use CDBG funding. Since the city doesn't have the funding, then we can use the CDBG funding, we have it available, and then we can knock down a building with CDBG funds and use additional funding to rebuild. So that's the plan.
Okay, the only other question, that's being asked by me constantly, and that is the sign in the front of the MLK building, that the storm took down. Will
Yeah,
that
I've
be
spoken
rebuilt?
to representatives also of and so I told them that's a general services question, because, CDBG funding is for our buildings, but not necessarily for signage. We can do some signage, but we'll work with general services to get that sign back up, because it's according to what kind of sign. I would like to see some type of electronic sign. That way, when we have things that are going on in the neighborhood, it could be flashing on there.
So it wasn't FEMA reimbursement, because I was under the impression that sign came down during the
I
hurricane?
think it was a claim, but I don't know. I'm not involved in that portion of what the claims are, Councilwoman.
Okay.
Anybody else? Councilman Brennan?
Thank you, ladies, for your help. Do we have an idea of what the cost of the demolition would be?
We're hoping it doesn't exceed what we have available. Right now, we have about $150,000 available that could do the demolition once HUD gives us the okay. So we're hoping it does not exceed that amount.
And do you have an estimate on what the sign would be that you're looking for?
I do not. I would have to get with General Services to get that estimate.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
See nobody else. Dr. Jones, Ms. Shaw, thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
The next department would be Citizens Services, and it's on page 130.
We're going to do this and take a 5-minute restroom break after citizen services, please.
Good morning, Chantel Miller, Department of Citizen
Good morning.
Services, Kidder Food Bank.
And Tamithia Shaw, Director of Federal Program Compliance. I'm here again.
Moral support again? Floor is yours.
Department of Citizen Services, Chantel Miller.
Yes, ma'am. 1:30. Okay. Can you give us a little general update as to what's going on? Looks like the budget is increasing about 18%. Is that due to some new positions, or do a little broad explanation, then we can get into questions after that, please? Or Ms. Shaw, you can.
I'll start with some of this. We're requesting an increase in the salary for our director. She's been here almost 15 years, and her citizen services goes beyond just the food bank. I think people think it's just the food bank, but it goes beyond. She also works with housing our homeless and looking for people who are homeless as part of our outreach. That's something she did when she was with community development, and she's continued that through the citizen services. Also, with the people that come in, we just don't provide food. Because we get donations of all sorts, she also provides, we have mothers that come for diapers. So we also have, she works and she gets school supplies. So those things are available at our, as I don't want to say just food bank, because that kind of limits it to people thinking just food, but there are other services that people come to get from citizen services that Ms. Miller helps with. So having her longevity, her expertise in providing it. Also, she worked with the administration to put on our Sipping with Santa, which was a great event for the city, raise money. She's always looking for other ideas, working. She also worked on a grant with United Way and got us funding where we were able to, with the economy today, we've had more people come into the food bank that we've had to go to Liz and get money because Second Harvest is bare and the city covers, so we get food from Second Harvest. So she's had to go out and get food for us to even get out on out to our monthly customers. So she got that grant through United Way. It's about $21,000. So we were able to provide boxes of food to those people, extra boxes, because we understand that there's an additional need. And like I said, she's always looking for other things that we can do behind the scenes. She's also, last year, she had a job fair at the MLK Resource Center. And she's worked with partners like Treasure Chest that came out to the job fair. So she's working with employers also. So like I say, it's just not the food bank that she's over. She's also over other citizen service that we send to her. So we think it's only right that with her expertise and the work that she's doing, that we give her a raise. She hasn't had a raise in a long time. In being here 15 years, she has a degree. I think it's only right that we compensate her because we don't want to lose that institutionalized and expertise for that department.
Yeah, Ms. Shaw and Ms. Miller, I'm sure inflation is also causing many more calls to your office, given the cost of food these days. And I'm sure the kids are grown up now. I'm sure the cost of baby supplies is exponentially going up.
Absolutely.
So the question about the food bank and the supplies and the diapers, those come from places like the United Way or from donations? Like, we don't actually buy those. Do we buy that stuff?
We don't buy, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Some we have to purchase. We also have retail partnerships that we continue to make sure that we keep those relationships strong in order to receive those donations. And those are the baby supplies. That's how we're able to have our annual community baby shower every year, where we have mothers pre-register and we give them an actual baby shower.
So where does the purchase, you have to purchase stuff, where does that come out of? I'm just
What's
curious.
It's a separate fund. All donations are put in a separate fund that's not budgeted. So
Got
it's in
it.
a food bank fund, and it's restricted for use.
And then
then
strict donations?
Yep, strictly
Okay.
donations that they receive, and then when needed, they make the purchases out of there.
No. And then how long you been with this position, Ms. Miller?
What's that?
How long you been in this position?
I've been the food bank director for 8 years now. 4 years, assistant director for 4 years, and before that, I was a food bank supervisor and senior administrative assistant.
Well, doing a good job. We're happy to have you. I'm very happy to approve that raise, and I think that's very much warranted. Anybody else on the council? Councilman Wilmot.
Thank you, Council President. I just have just some general question regarding contact information. If somebody's in need of these items, what's an address and phone number that they can contact?
Sure. Our Department of Citizen Services is on the city's website. They can also click Kenner Food Bank. We're located at 317 Oxley Street in Kenner, Louisiana. Our phone number is 504-468-7220. And just to echo what Ms. Shaw said, we're there to not just meet their food needs, but we're also there to give them a holistic approach to any services that they may need.
Perfect, thank you.
Councilwoman McKinney.
Yes, thank you, Council President. I just want some, I know you mentioned that you have monthly families that are served, and I was just wondering what that number was. And then also, I know you're adding, or it looks like there's a clerk and there's kind of an executive, there's an additional position, but people are kind of being exchanged out. I guess the program coordinator is a new executive coordinator, and just, I guess, give a description of what they're going to be doing, or what they do.
Sure. The executive coordinator will be assisting the Citizen Services Department in addition to the Community Development Department. They will alleviate some of the strain, being as though I don't have an assistant. He will also serve as the outreach coordinator as it relates to additional programming that we're trying to incorporate at the food bank. I recently attended a conference for the Feeding America conference, and we have so many new, fresh ideas that we would like to implement. And that additional position will allow that.
Great, great. And then how many monthly, like how many families?
On an average, we have 420 registered families. I don't know sometimes if you guys pass and see the line outside of the food bank. We also have a program called Neighborhood Choice that also services upward of 120 families that, we have our elderly people in Kenner that may not necessarily meet the income limits. So we try to always have a set-aside program that can also assist those families that may not meet the USDA income limits, although they may not meet the income limits. They're still in need because of the increase in insurance. The senior populations, they do own their homes and they do pay insurance, and unfortunately, they're not left with enough money to cover their food bill.
Yeah, I think it's all of us these days. But yeah, great, perfect, thank you. And let us know, and let me know. I know during COVID I volunteered, and I'd love to continue to do that. I kind of dropped off, but definitely want to touch base with you guys.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
We'd love to have you.
If I can just add, the executive coordinator was cut from another department out of federal program compliance, so it's net zero change.
Okay, perfect, thanks.
Okay, thank y'all so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
being here. At this time, we're at about a 5-minute bathroom and water break. We'll reconvene about 11:15. is we're going to do another hour and take a lunch break at 12:30. So next up, we have federal program compliance. Wait for once. Wait
Yes,
till I
sir,
sit
it's
down
on
to meet
page
you.
188. It's on page 188, Joey.
188. Okay.
Yep.
What'd she say, 38?
All right. Looks like we're all back. Federal program compliance. The floor is yours, Ms. Tamitha Shaw.
Okay. Tamitha Shaw, Director of Federal Program Compliance. The department was created to handle all of our, make sure that we're in compliance with all of our federal programming that we have in the city. Right now, we're working on our Rivertown South Kenner Drainage Project. It's been in the works for a long, long time. So we're finally getting off. Contractor was chosen, it was Joy Calderera. So we have that work starting May 24th in the area to start with minimizing flooding down in Williams. We had that rain event a few weeks ago, and if anyone saw Williams Boulevard, you know how desperately that's projects needed. It's about $2.4 million coming from GOSEP FEMA, and then the city is putting up the remaining funding that we need to make the project complete. We also just got word from Jefferson Parish that we are finally going to get a generator at the food bank. That's been greatly needed because anybody knows when we have a storm, we have to throw away everything because we don't have a generator. So that funding is finally coming through, so you'll be seeing a CEA. It's supposed to be going in front of Jefferson Parish Council first to approve the CEA, and then it'll come to you as the council to approve so that we can get the funding. They're gonna be paying 75%, we'll pay 25% to get that funding for that project. Also working with wastewater to see, we've been working with JP for one of our lift stations throughout the city to see if we can get funding for it. Right now, we're working to make sure, with FEMA, you have to meet the benefit cost analysis to make sure that the costs are reasonable and a benefit to the community. Right now, we're working to see if we can reach that number to see if we can benefit that lift station. And all of these things that we're doing now is to lessen the burden on our general fund, because when we're getting or seeking funds from the federal government, it means that we don't have the funds in the city to do it, but it doesn't go that we don't need it. It's just that we don't have, and we have to prioritize in the city. Also, we just did a grant to Councilman Carter's office for a project that we're doing with our AP Clay. We know that we don't have enough money to restore it fully. Even though we've applied through Jefferson Parish through the Hometown Revitalization Grant, we're also applying for a HUD grant. It still is lacking funding, so we just did, Congressman Carter had a note for any organizations, municipalities who are seeking federal funding for their projects, so we did comply with that. The mayor sent a letter of support for that, so we're waiting to see what happens with that. So we're always seeking opportunities for federal funding to fill in those gaps where our general fund just cannot do it. Any questions?
I do not. Anybody in the council? C. Councilman Wilmot.
So this department has one staff member, correct?
It's me.
It's you.
And that other position is being moved to citizen services because there's a greater need for that position in citizen services than it is for me right now. So that's why I'm saying we're all working together. Now that position, we work with civil service. That position is also not just for citizen services, but like Ms. Miller said, it'll be for community development, for things that we may have too, because we realize that we work with one another and we are entwined. So that position will be for both departments. But it's being moved out of federal program compliance.
And how long has this department been intact?
This department has been in since November of 2022. for the federal program compliance.
Thank you.
Councilman Schwartz?
Sure, I just want to ask you, just curiosity, okay? You are head of all these departments. I mean, I can't say enough, okay? Is there any possibility of maybe condensing it and making it just one and just have a section of each one?
Well, because you have so many different departments, they were convinced at one time, and it was so many different duties and so many different things. We definitely need them to be separated because, like I said, we're looking at salary portion like HUD. HUD is sharing with the general fund, okay? The position that we have with this citizen services is general fund. So to keep all of those separate, because you have to have some type of internal controls with separating those funding allocations from the different ones. Like I said, this is a general fund position that I'm in because this is making sure that we complete and get all of our reimbursements that we are due from the federal government and then the different positions. So for compliance, we're making sure we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's with all of those. So like I said, a long time ago when the city was smaller, it was all one department, was community services, but as it grew, you got more funding and different things. It's just too much to have it all in one department.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Ms. Shaw. Appreciate it.
Can I just add?
Yeah.
The capital budget, community development does have an item in the budget for a passenger van with a wheelchair lift, so that's something that's greatly needed, so that is in the capital side of the budget.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yes, we have some vans, but our seniors have been stuck on side of the road. And we've had to go get them in another van to try to transport because we've had an increase in seniors, which is a good thing. We've had an increase in our seniors who come as our non-congregates every day to the center because we are offering those services that they come for different activities every day. And because we've had that increase, we have to have 2 working vans, and one has been failing us and having our seniors stuck, so we definitely need a new van there.
Okay. I think that's all. Thank you so much for the presentation. Next up, we have civil service.
Yes, sir, and it's on page 59.
Tamithia did such a good job, I'm tempted to ask her to come up here and do mine. Good morning.
Good morning.
Todd McDowell, Civil Service. I've got Mr. Kirk Savoy here. He's our administrator in our department. Budget is relatively flat, fairly simple and straightforward. I know you're rushed today to get through a lot of these, so I will keep it brief. Couple points to highlight, which I think these are glimmers of light and glimmers of hope and positivity. Approximately 1,400 applications for employment year over year. That's a 10% increase over the previous year. And filled staffed positions up a little north of 5%. So I think those are very good numbers, and I'll be happy to take any questions that you have.
Councilwoman McKinney.
President. This is more of probably a Liz question. I just noticed when I was looking at it, the amended budget amount for the total salaries is a little different. From page 61 to 60, it's 184 to 109. I was just curious as to that variance.
Yeah, so just remember when we propose a budget, we build raises in pay incentives, and then throughout the year, it's transferred over to what they actually need. So their amended will be a little different than what they're
Okay, so
adopted.
this includes the
Yeah,
2%.
the previous year's
Previous
raise.
year's raise. Okay, great. That's all I had. Thank you.
Anybody else? So it's 1,400 applications a year with an annual basis?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And
Go ahead.
what percentage of, what percentage is hired, I guess, out of the 1,400?
Oh, man, I don't know right offhand. It's very low. Because let's be real, the current market, you're not getting the best and the brightest, so you're kind of having to work. So we have people disqualified for unacceptable employment histories, unacceptable backgrounds, failed drug tests, things of that nature.
Okay.
It's definitely in the single digits.
Okay, thanks.
All right, I have no other questions. Looks like that was quick. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful
Alrighty.
day.
Next up, we have Fire and Police Civil Service.
And it's on page 56.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Jennifer Driscoll. I serve as the secretary to the Fire and Police Civil Service Board. This budget is essentially standstill. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any problems in the department this past year? Any problems with the department? Everything's fine? No
Everything's
big
good.
issues? Okay. Standstill doesn't usually elicit a lot of questions, and there's one manager, and that's you, right?
That's it.
Any questions?
Sir.
I'm sorry, Councilman Schwartz.
Thank you. Jennifer, fantastic job. One-man gang. I know you're out there. You're doing it. You're keeping our emergency services in line.
Yes, thank you.
And making sure everybody's where you're supposed to be.
Correct.
And thank you for doing a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Anybody else? Ms. Driscoll, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Quickest yet. Human Resources and Personnel, please. Please report to the podium. What's the page? Natalie's talking to Teresa about something. 53.
What page? 50?
53.
Fire and Police Civil Service.
No, we already did that.
All right, Human Resources
Human
is on page
Resource.
53. So
Okay.
sorry.
It was so fast, you didn't even realize it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are y'all doing today?
Good. Wendy Foles, Personnel Director.
Yeah, hey,
Brett
Wendy.
Dordar, Assistant Personnel Director.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. We're presenting the new budget that's primarily the same with a few minor increases for cost of the access cards for the office supplies and for some additional staff training on the travel and professional development, and then one small decrease for the professional services due to a decrease in one of the contracts.
All the positions are staying the same?
Correct.
Okay. How long have you been with the city?
34
30,
years.
34 years. We don't see you very often. You ought to come to a meeting every now and then. I haven't seen you in a long time.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm at all the meetings.
You come to all the meetings? Where do you sit?
Right there. Same spot pretty much every time.
All right. I'm not a really tall guy, so maybe that's the problem. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I've spoken to you on the phone a bunch of times, but
Yes.
anybody have any questions, Ms. Foles? Councilwoman McKinney?
Thank you. My only question is, how do you decrease service contracts? Because that would be great if we could all do that everywhere.
It was the Sigma contract that the services were just
So you decrease services, or you like, do they just?
Combined services,
Combined
basically,
services,
yes.
awesome, great. Perfect, good job. I think she should get a raise for the difference.
Anybody else? Ms. Foles, thank y'all so much for
Thank
coming
you.
today. Next up, Parks and Recreation.
Kevin, evidently they're stuck in traffic, so we're going to take the finance department next because recreation's stuck on Williams Boulevard. So we're going to move to the finance department. Page 44.
And one thing I wanted to mention, I don't think the mayor said it to begin with, but the municipal retirement employer amount dropped. So you may see why some departments, especially like smaller departments like personnel, you're noticing a decrease overall. It's because our employer share has decreased. So we used to have to do 29.5 and it dropped to 28. So
Another good thing, how do we do that continuously?
I wish the other police and fire retirement system would do the same.
How do we do that for insurance?
Yeah.
Well, retirement, police and fire is probably going to get worse. Police is different. I mean, you're going to see a big jump because the non-enforcement people are in the police retirement, the regular employees are in with everyone else here. Everyone that reports to the chief of police should be on the police retirement. So everybody hired, you're going to see
Yes.
a big increase in, it's not a big increase, it's just moving monies around because the laws have changed.
Yep.
And the unfunded liability is going to be around for a long time, where we're paying 30-some odd % of retirement.
So for finance, we're down 5.6% overall. We took a look at our positions and were able to reduce a few of them. I have a really amazing staff that really does a lot with the little that we do have, but we were able to cut where we could, just overall tightening up on our expenses. We're doing a lot of stuff in-house, not having to outsource things, so that's helped. And that's about it. If you have specific questions.
Was finance always in the mayor's building before Ida, or were you all in a different place?
We were in building A long time ago.
Okay.
They moved us to building D, maybe like 2018, 2019-ish. I think it was 2018, January of that. Reasons unknown. It is good to be in that building because it's the EOC, so we always have, all the things we need, power and things like that. I think that the overall goal, though, would to be wherever the mayor's office is. So, if we build back City Hall and they have all the same resources as Building D, kind of makes sense to me.
Okay.
And then the mayor's office moved to Building D when he took office, so.
Just curious. Councilwoman McKinney?
Well, I just caught, if we build back City Hall, are we
If.
not planning to
When.
build back City Hall?
When we do.
And then they had, so senior secretary, is that someone who retired or? Is that-
No, it was a vacant position, but I really don't need it. Like, it really would have been like a more of an assistant type for me, but it's just not needed.
So you don't need an assistant?
I have an assistant director, which is enough, and everyone, the senior accountants have really stepped up and do everything that needs to be done. So it's just an unnecessary position.
Okay, great, perfect.
Maybe we could take that money and allocate it to the council salaries, because you were talking about salary. We hadn't got, we've got pay raises since like 1937.
Councilman Brannigan?
Well, Brian, on that note, St. Charles Parish put a deal out last couple of weeks ago to increase the council salaries, and it failed like 80-20, so it's a bad move. Thank you for everything that you do.
You're welcome.
And every time I call you, that number's not going up. It keeps going down.
Y'all spending.
Liz, you do a great job. We all enjoy speaking to you. Thank you for all your explanations and everything you always do.
Thanks.
I think that's it for finance. Thanks so much.
All right, the next up, we're going to take city attorney. Michelle, is that okay? All right,
Michelle.
and it's page 71.
Ms. Dufresne, the floor is yours.
Not much has changed for us. We did do away with a part-time position that we had when Mike Power was here. We just, right now, don't have a need. I can't say if litigation increases, we wouldn't need that at one point in time, but right now, we have a pretty good makeup. We have a pretty good flow of people.
Okay.
Everyone chips in. We just didn't need that spot open. We did do some product changing with Sigma, which reduced our prices a lot. And that's basically what it does is it sets us a set amount every month instead of it being a by the hour charge, which was kind of getting a little crazy for the things we were looking for insurances, because we do the insurances for everyone. So it's not necessarily just our charges. It's when we need someone to know what kind of insurance do we need on this truck, what kind of insurance do we need on this type of job. Sigma would tell us what we need, check and make sure they have all their insurance and things like that. But now we're doing a little bit more of that in-house, and they're doing a little less. And we've got a set price, and that has reduced our numbers a good bit. So we don't have a lot of change. if y'all have any questions.
Y'all been doing a great job. The professional services part of the budget, is that
That's
for
the-
outside counsel?
That's Sigma, no, that's.
Sigma?
That's Sigma. That has some outside counsel. No, actually, we have legal fees. If you look under.
Where's
So
that
we
at?
got professional
Legal-
service, look at page, let's see, 72.
Yeah, I see, the legal
Okay.
fees in '22 were $138,000, and
Yeah.
they went to 11
Because
after.
we're doing more in-house.
You took over,
We do
yeah.
more in-house. We have Ray Canzaneri, who handles a lot of our personnel problems instead of sending that out. We don't have outside counsel doing mayor's court. Ray's doing that also. It's just everybody's handling everything. We still have outside counsel, of course, because we're not a law firm. People don't understand that, you know, in order to handle every case that came in, we'd have to have legal secretaries.
Oh,
You
of
can
course.
imagine.
No,
So
y'all-
there's not enough. We still have to handle the city's business. You know, I'm assisting in the Ivy Waste case, so that's helping a lot with those attorney's fees. And we do other stuff.
No, y'all are very, very in tune and very hands-on with everything. It's obvious. That's one of the biggest things I've seen since you've gotten involved. It is necessary to hire outside counsel sometimes. There's no doubt about that for many different reasons. But no, it looks like the budget's pretty much standstill or going down a little bit to the elimination of that position. Anybody else have any questions? Councilwoman McKinney?
I just wanted to inquire about more of less budget, but the status of old legal cases. I know that you guys were wrapping up a lot of them. What is this, like, how far along on doing that? And then and then I'll have one more question after that.
We still have a few, maybe 5 old cases. And what I mean by old cases, something that may have happened from 2015 till before this mayor took office. So we still have a few, I know, we still have a couple of those that are just kind of hanging out there. And for whatever reason, we want to get them settled, or we just can't, or we don't want to settle them. But hopefully we can get a couple of those knocked out. If we just get accidents to stop happening, that would be even better.
Does that include the Ivy Waste in that 5 number, or is that outside of that?
No, it's outside.
Okay.
That's going to be outside.
Okay.
Yes.
And then also, the one that happened this morning, we hit our own thing.
It sounds like we hit our own.
So
fire
we're not
hydrant.
suing ourselves, so I think we're good.
What happened this morning?
On Loyola, apparently there was an accident on Loyola where one of our people hit a fire hydrant.
Okay.
But I haven't gotten which department or anything else. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I did want to ask, and I don't know, who are the other magistrates? I know we
still have the same ones we had, and we have the one that we just hired. And my name, help me out, Tom. The guy we just hired to be magistrate. Yes. Couldn't think of his name.
so we have one or
We have.
two?
We have
2, right?
2, and then we have our regular, I'm thinking of his name. Who's our regular?
We got Laura
Marone Floyd.
Tadaro.
Yeah, Marone Floyd.
Miguel.
Yes, help me.
Okay, thanks.
Marion Floyd.
Bruce
Ferdinand.
Lozana. Bruce Lozana is our main
Bruce,
one, yes.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm having a brain freeze.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else have questions for City Attorney? Councilman Wilmot?
As far as last administration, they had what they referred to as a loss fund, and they had some funds in it. Do we have a loss fund today? And if so, how much money do we have in it?
We do. So anytime y'all sell property, it gets split in 3 ways. It goes to the fire department, the police department, and then the city. And it all goes in their loss funds. We have $843,000 in the loss fund for the city right now.
And the purpose of those funds, if you can explain?
Well, it should be for possible exposure, lawsuits, and payouts, but what we're trying to do, each year we get a report from Sigma that kind of tells us what we should be having in a loss fund, and, we're nowhere near that number. Luckily, we've been able to absorb, if we get a lawsuit covering it, not having to touch the loss fund. So hopefully in a few years, that continues to grow. But nothing's really going in it except when you sell property. So
Can we use those funds at any time, or do we have to have a particular?
we can use those funds for lawsuits if we need to.
Okay, all right. Thank you, thank you. That's all, thank you.
Councilman Brannigan?
How much are we supposed to have in the loss fund?
I can send y'all all the last report we received from
Okay.
Sigma.
All right, I think that's it. Michelle, thanks so much for the presentation. Doing a great job.
Okay,
Madam Clerk.
next up, we do have the Recreation Department. They're on page 115.
All right, Director Charles Alon, thanks for coming.
Good morning.
All right.
Just want to give you guys some information of what we've been doing over the last year. Once again, throughout the year, we've maintained a diverse lineup of our recreational activities. Sports related, in the fall, that was flag football, volleyball, soccer, cheer. Winter, basketball, and another session of soccer. And then in the spring was baseball, softball, t-ball. And consistently, our largest number is with our younger group, which is a good thing because that shows that while our numbers are starting to increase at 7, 8, 9, and 10, that means we're doing a pretty good job at the young ages and retaining those, which I think is the most valuable part of it at this point. If we can retain them, then our numbers will continue to increase a little bit. We're not going to see a drastic change all of a sudden, but we'll see some change and improve in numbers. Again, we're offering beach volleyball this June. That was a very successful program last summer. I believe as of yesterday, we had 56 or so, or near 60 signups in less than 48 hours, so I'm anticipating near 100. We've also brought in someone to help us on a part-time basis developing teen programs and special needs programs. The special needs might take a little bit longer to develop, but our teens programs, we started that with our partnership with NOLA Sport at Butch Dewey Gym, and we offered 4-on-4 indoor soccer. We are going to have this is ages 13 to 17, 3-on-3 basketball at Lincoln Manor during the summer, during June, and we'll keep developing our special needs. One of the special needs partnerships, though, has happened, or it's going to happen this Saturday at the skate park at Wentwood, and that's a wheelchair event that's going to be monthly until September, and then develop into something that the guy's trying to develop into a team that can represent the region on the national level. So that's coming as well. Community outreach over the last year. I mean, we've done basketball clinics where we partner both with Bonneville and Kenner Discovery basketball teams. They have done, one-day clinics with nice showings. We've also this year we did a basketball season kickoff event, and we brought in members of the Tulane men's and women's basketball teams. It wasn't a clinic per se, but it was an opportunity for kids to get to meet some student athletes at the college level. And then we've also partnered with East Bank Little League, which we have a CEA with, as well as Mount Carmel and Chappelle on some clinics throughout the year. Our biggest issues is really staffing shortages. We're operating at about a third of the personnel that the rec department had even 6 years ago. So when you're talking about daily grind of maintenance, for example, there were 32 recreation employees in rec maintenance 6 years ago. We currently are operating with 11. We are actively trying to recruit people. We are actively setting up interviews. Either people are failing to show up at interviews after they schedule them, or they don't complete the hiring process for one reason or another. And then we've also, we had someone in for a very short period of time, a couple of months, trying to develop adult programs for us. That started out with pickleball, which is going pretty well on Fridays, not so great on Wednesdays, but pretty good on Fridays. And then we were also getting into adult volleyball and other programs. Unfortunately, that individual decided to leave, so we're kind of taking where we left off and continuing to try and build. And then the other thing I'd like to bring to your attention is community engagement in terms of really community ownership of what we do have. We are running into a tremendous amount of vandalism, whether it be graffiti, whether it be adults or older teens damaging younger equipment. And we're constantly having to be reactive and spending dollars on putting Band-Aids on things rather than trying to improve it and take it to the next level. And I don't know the exact solution, but we have to be able to protect what assets we do have, especially when we're investing both at the state level, the local level, the parish level in equipment. I mean, we have 2 brand new covered tot lots at 2 parks south of Airline. Both have had graffiti on them already. They haven't even been up 2 months. So we were either covering them or attempting to erase the graffiti that are on them. We haven't had anything broken yet, which is great. And both of those parks are also getting 2 new exercise pads, and then a third park is also getting a new tot lot. So we've done a lot here in South Kenner specifically, which is great. We do need, just like the community values those things being brought to the community, they need to take some ownership as well to take care of what's there. And it's happening all throughout the city. So, you know, another easy example is the Lake Town bathrooms. All that money was spent on brand new boat launch, brand new bathrooms. It didn't take 2 weeks, and they were a mess. And I'll spare you the details of how bad they were. So, you know, with staffing shortage, but yet we're still making progress both for the kids and opportunities for adults to use things. You know, we just need I'm hoping that we can do some things over the course of the next year to try and get the public more into ownership of what they do have. So I'm open to any questions you guys might have.
Councilwoman D. Dunn?
Yeah, Charles, I just have a question that was brought to my attention from one of the constituents. At Lincoln Manor, you know, we've had trouble with, in code that people are going on the property, parking illegal cars, working on cars or whatever. Is it any way that we can lock our gates when we are going at night?
We certainly can. There are a number of properties throughout the city that have been pretty much 24/7 access to the community, Lincoln being one, because the field is not gated, but the parking lot can be. So, sure, I mean, there's a rolling gate that we could lock. There's a number of spots that are issues like you're bringing up, you know, so yes, they can be, and I guess at your leadership of your area, knowing that maybe some of the public is okay with that, then fine.
Yeah, we're going to bring it up again. It was brought to my attention by the Civic Association president.
Okay.
So I told her I would get with you, but we've been so busy. So I'll send an email.
Sure.
Asking that, you know, if we could, you know, actually get that. Now, about the park, this is the first I'm hearing. I didn't know about the graffiti. I do ride my district. I just don't have time to ride, you know, every day.
Yeah.
So, you know, if I'm aware of that, I would like to get that information to the Civic Association that complains to me so much and ask them if they could, you know, be the police about it. I mean, I had no idea that they were doing that already.
And it does happen all throughout the city at different locations. So
Okay.
by no means that I mean strictly in your area, but the 2 newer tot lots in the city happen to be in your district. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I was unaware. I was there not long ago. I didn't see that. So undoubtedly, it must have happened within the last couple of weeks. And you know, there was a list that I did send back because a couple things really to me from a legal perspective that I sent for Buddy Lawson. To me, it really kind of sets the city up for a lawsuit. So I want to know if those things will be addressed.
Yes, actually, there was a list from Buddy Lawson as well as Rosemary Minor. Okay. Almost all of those issues have already been addressed unless we had to order material to finish something.
Okay, I
So-
sent it not long ago, so I haven't been back since I sent the
Yeah, I
list
think
and
this
the
was all,
pictures.
I received some of this within the last week. And
Okay.
we went and addressed most of them, if not all, within the last 7 days, 7 work days.
Okay, because one of the things that really, it really disturbed me when you walked out that back door and walked onto a table. I mean, and then the grass growing in the
Yes.
door itself. I just thought that,
I know for sure the table's removed. We are awaiting quotes on all 3 double doors
Okay.
at Buddy Lawson Gym. So there's been some shifting over the years in terms of the gym. So we have a company that's coming out to give us a quote to be able to replace all 3 of those double doors. The
Okay.
main entrance and the 2 in the back.
Okay, but are you all gonna do in-house on the faucet? Because the reason why I thought that would have been a liability, because it's chipping. So if it chips into your hand.
The faucets are being replaced as we speak.
Thank you.
Tables removed, faucets are being replaced. The black molding around the entire interior of the gym has already been done.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
That was very important.
Councilman Schwartz?
Thank you, sir. Liz, I guess this is kind of like for you and Director as well. On our CEAs, are we losing anything on our CEAs? I know we're supposed to be getting some funding in on some of them. Natalie?
I'm happy to address that.
Okay.
The CEAs, I mean, we are keeping track of capital improvements. That's how those agreements are arranged. So as the organizations put in their capital money, we actually collect on the back end. So at the end of the term of their agreement, there'll be a true-up, I guess you would say, because it's usually, most agreements, over the course of the first 5 years, they're obligated to put in a certain dollar amount in capital. And if not, then they would reimburse us. I mean, we still make payments on utilities, but again, we are offering programs and services through those partnerships.
And right, and let's go back with you, Charles. We're getting those programs together. We're getting participation. Are the kids coming in actually?
From those programs?
Yeah.
I mean, with say Mount Carmel and Chappelle, those kids are too old to participate in our programs. But there's a couple of East Bank kids, East Bank Little League kids that also play in our leagues. Yes.
Yeah. No, like when East Bank Little League had their, I wouldn't say tryouts, but they had a little program where they had kids come in. We probably had 25 kids from the city of Canada that came in that wasn't with East Bank that participated in the tryouts and that program.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know we got like Chappelle, Mount Carmel, those fields right there. They're kind of contributing as well as they're holding field tryouts or programs.
I mean, the only things that the high schools are doing for us is coaching and player clinics for the age groups that we serve through the recreation department. You bring up a good point that East Bank Little League does provide kind of residents with a local opportunity for travel ball if they so choose, or a more, I guess, robust program, but it also comes at a cost. I know they pay a pretty good amount of money to go play in that league. We did have an uptick in our baseball and softball programs this year, so I think some of the clinics that they provided actually gauged more interest for people to participate in our recreation programs.
Yeah, I just want to kind of like, there's been a whole lot of, we're renting out our fields, we're giving out the CEAs and things like that, and then privatizing some of our fields. We don't use them, so it's like, why have them? I mean, if we're not going to use them, but these programs that we have with the CEAs kind of like to give back to the city.
Correct. I would argue that we're not, giving away our facilities. We're utilizing them in different ways, whether it's through additional sports education, offering additional programs. You guys just approved the CEA not too long ago with Dynamo Football Club. They've been running our program for years, and it was really a matter of codifying an agreement. And now they're going to make improvements to that facility at no cost to the city.
Yeah, I'm all for it. By no means I'm against it because I know it's great. We're utilizing facilities. We're giving the community an opportunity to learn from some better coaching, some better, just a little bit of better of everything. So I'm for 'em. I have nothing against it at all, but we just got to keep it out there, just keep it going.
Yeah. One of the things I could tell you for sure that we've seen a nice, pleasant improvement has been the number of volunteer coaches. A year ago, we were having a tough time. This year, it's gotten a lot better as far as parents stepping up earlier in the process so that we're kind of ahead of the game before our season starts. So that's worked out pretty well.
Councilman Brannigan?
Well, when I look at recreation and you look at where we were on July 1st, 2022 versus today, if it wasn't for Charles Alon and Natalie Newton and Mayor Glaze's administration and Mayor Glazer having a vision to get these programs back in play as fast as possible, we wouldn't be where we are today. And it's a process, and it's going to take time to build up and try and get as many participants as we can. The problem is there's so many diversions for kids now, they're going all over the place, okay? Travel ball is one of them. All of my grandkids play travel ball. And it's a situation where they also play in some leagues in Jefferson Parish because that's where they're domiciled at. They don't live in the city of Kenner. But it's a situation where Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles can see that this recreation department today is so much better than it was on July 1st, 2022. And it's because of these people being involved and making an effort. And I see it going up. You get a lot of comments on social media that, Kenner Recreation's terrible. And I just tell people, you need to go get involved in it and check it out before you start making all these stupid comments. Thank you.
I just want to add on to that, a sincere appreciation for the employees in the recreation department. As it was mentioned when we began, they are short-staffed, very short-staffed, and I really feel like our employees, step up to keep things moving forward.
Yeah.
Councilman Brennan?
Council President. Mr. Lyon, just real quickly, talking about the graffiti and the damage and stuff, do we have any security cameras or anything at any of the parks? Or?
No, we are working on that currently with the IT department to put cameras first in gyms, near gyms, and then we'll also work at fields as well. Some of it is fairly simple where our guys can go out with a solution and remove it. Others get a little too much on there and we have to repaint some items. So it just causes them, especially in this point, this time frame of the year with grass growing like crazy, it makes them stop what they're doing to go handle something because obviously once we catch it, we want to take care of it and get it removed. So no, the answer is no, we do not currently have cameras operating on fields.
And I know we've talked about the expense of the covers, and I know we've talked about the one at Seton Park that right above the highest point of the slide.
Yes, sir.
There's a hole above it, and I saw one the other day, and I don't recall where it was, and it caught my attention because it's very similar. Where the highest point of any of the equipment is, there's a hole, and I don't think it's just because we have tall kids climbing up there.
Right.
And but anyway, well, thank you for what you're doing and for all your efforts. And as Ms. Newton said, thank you for the staff, but not to discount that at all, but certainly that goes to all the city employees because we're very fortunate to have the people we do have. Thank you, Council President.
Hold on. I reiterate whatever George and Brian just said. I'm very happy with you guys. We need a Lake Town director or a supervisor because you're over Lake Town, and I've been in office. This is one of my biggest needs right now, and I've looked at this and dissected this situation. There's a policeman stationed out there. I've talked to Keith about this. They are so busy dealing with people causing problems, donuts, smoking stuff at night. They're constantly going back and forth. When I'm out there, that policeman's sometimes he's not there. If we had someone who was there on a more permanent basis, And even if we use that snack bar that was just renovated and put up a Kenner sign, I think it would make, they call it an honest thief out of these people that do this, we have more of a presence. The supervisor positions in the parks, they range, looks like from 24 to 40,000 in terms of a salary, is that correct?
That would sound right, yes, sir.
Okay. I want to create a position, and I want someone stationed out there. And this is such a great need right now. I will use my money if that's allowed by the Kenner Charter to use councilmanic funds to fund a position, at least for this year, if we can fill it to see how it goes. If it's not allowed by rule, I would try to submit an ordinance to Michelle to change the way to do this.
Yeah, they've used their councilmanic funds. We have to do an ordinance of you allocating, but they've done it before.
Okay.
Positions.
Like, I want to create a position. I think you're the guy that can fill this.
Just so you are aware, we do have Mr. Joe there 5 days a week. He's part-time. He's 4 hours
I know.
a day.
There needs to
our
be
other crew. No, I understand what you're
Joe,
saying.
keep Joe there. There needs to be someone on top, and you can call. If we had someone there more, that could be the guy that calls the police. There's people that are doing this. I've been out there and called the police with people doing donuts in front of me and my kids, like the district councilman, because I'm the only one there from Kenner, and it's disgusting to see what these people do. I've seen the pictures of the bathroom, and it blows my mind. We have this amphitheater coming from Rita Bohannon's office. If we do not have more of a stable position from someone in Kenner out there, it's going to go to you know what.
Yep.
And I've been thinking about this for 2 years. It drives me crazy. I get more calls, people about how disgusting Lake Town can be, and it's vandals. It's people in Kenner that aren't taking care of things. I do agree we need to educate the populace to take care of our things. We need to create this position, and I want it done this cycle. And I will use, if it's $40,000, I'll fund it right now. I'll sign the funding form to put this in here. I don't know what the decrease is. I don't know if you've eliminated a position because it went down a little bit, it looks like, 3.4. 110.
Well,
If
you
it
could-
gets filled,
Could you just open up the District Council 3 office there, and Stephanie can just sit there all day?
you
I mean,
can go.
that's
You could take the lighthouse.
So it's practicality. Is the lighthouse done yet? Did we renovate it? Can we just put can we, like, I'll help funding for that too. For someone can sit in there, put a Kenner sign, City of Kenner. Maybe Keith can do something with his office, put some kind of KPD thing too. We do that, this fixes a lot of these problems. I know this is the fix for this because there's a quandary right now of the rec department and the police, and it's this with Lake Town, because you're responsible for the garbage and stuff. He's responsible for the safety. But y'all cross paths and then no one's out there, and it's not your fault because there's not someone there all the time. And keep Mr. Joe, but fund a position and make it a little higher. If it needs to go higher to fill it, then we need to do that. I can't think of a more glaring need right now for vandalism. I mean, I think everybody in the council agrees that that's in my district, but Lake Town is a vital part of our community. We have the new casino going up, and I'm tired of people telling me they don't feel safe out there on the weekends at night. We need to have a presence, and I'll fund it. Like now. That's how much I believe in this. So I would call for y'all to help me with that and to sign a budget to put call it Lake Town, whoever you want to call it, Lake Town guy, Lake Town dude, Lake Town person. I mean, just call it what you want, but I want to put $40,000 in here for your office to do this. But they got to be strictly assigned to that area. And then I'll talk to the administration about doing the lighthouse, whatever we need to do.
I'm just going to chime in that we do have a civil service system here. If this is going to be a full-time position, it's going to have to go through that process to be created.
Okay. I don't know. I have no idea on how long that would take, but so if is there a way around it to get by this summer to have this?
It's possible that we can amend some of the job duties of like a park ranger that's already within the civil service system, but we would need to review the job duties and see, or if there's another supervisor. There's a supervisor lakefront position But again, full-time, part-time.
Does anybody
we
up here
need to talk
disagree with me that
hours.
that is a huge problem? Y'all been out there, huh? I just get really just charged thinking about it because I know this is one of the big needs we have. So let's do that. If we'll go talk to legal and Liz and we'll meet.
I'd like to talk to you first to see kind of what you're envisioning for that position and just have an open conversation about if we think we can staff it.
Yes, I know. Well, it has to be enough to track someone. And are all the supervisor positions filled at the parks? Not the assistants, but the actual supervisors.
We have one part-time head supervisor position open currently, and then we have 8 assistant supervisor positions open.
Okay.
And those are full-time?
No, those are part-time.
Those are all
So it needs to be something full-time. I think that would help get this filled. I mean, Mr. Joe's obviously out there emptying the garbage cans, especially on the weekends, and those complaints have gone down a lot.
Mr. Joe's there Monday through Friday. We alternate ourselves and general services flip-flop
For weekends.
weekends and send people out there on the weekends to handle trash.
Okay. Because, I mean, it is, recreations, you're responsible for Lake Town.
Correct.
So it's not like,
Correct.
it's not general, I know Mark helps a lot with all this, and we're doing the pier stuff right now with the lights, but I guess it would have to be a recreation position. And whatever we need to do to fill it, let's figure it out. If anybody disagrees with me on this, I'm happy to talk to you, but it's the biggest problem I've seen so far. Councilwoman McKinney.
Thank you, Council President. There was a lot of good conversation. I do want to say, or just get some updates with regard to, I know you have a recreation, the administration has a recreation committee that's working together on some ideas as well, and we haven't gotten an update. I don't know if you can provide an update there. If you can provide an update, and I do think that I echo Councilman Lahat's desire to do something at Lake Town, because I think it is important. We're doing that huge development. That just got me thinking of, maintenance, and we're going to own that facility. Is Recreation going to own that and maintain it? Where's it going to fall? Some of those things. I know that's future, obviously not this budget, maybe not even a conversation to have right now, but I'd like to have that going forward.
Just a small update on the Recreation Advisory Committee. They're still working through their individual committees. We'll meet with the full committee next month. And we should be pushing out, they've made some tweaks to a survey that we're going to be pushing out to the public shortly to try to gauge some of that feedback, but we don't anticipate a full report until closer to October.
Anyone else? Councilwoman D, done?
Thank you, Council President. I had a complaint about, because we were trying to get our numbers up of people going online and, doing the application. So we decided to try and figure it out. How do we get people to sign up that's complaining that they don't have anything in Kenner? So we asked for the name and the contact, and we decided that we would do the online application ourselves. So I'm going to wait and see if that's going to come to fruition, and that will kind of help. Basically, it was at Buddy Lawson. So I asked him to get the name and the phone number, and then we will contact them and go online and sign them up. I just can't believe that, well, no, we don't have any way of signing up. Everybody is online. I mean, so we're going to try and help. We've already have the, the page, and the only thing we want them to do is just give us the name, the phone number to contact them. Once we contact them, then we will go online, and hopefully we'll get some of the numbers up in that area, rather than complain. I mean, I don't like to complain. I like solutions. So if that's a complaint, then let us, do the online registration ourselves. But I'm just waiting to see how many people will actually say, okay, I want my son, my daughter to sign up. So I'm just giving you a little heads up on that.
Right, just keep in mind online, they set up their own account and they actually pay through
Right.
that system as well.
Right. I just want to see if they are pulling my leg if they're really serious, that there are kids out there that wants to sign up. You know, I understand the system, but they act like, oh, no, we don't have anything, we don't have anything, and I know it's out there.
If they don't have a computer, it is mobile friendly. They can do it on their phone as well.
Yeah, but we're gonna see if that's gonna work. And if they don't give us any names of contact, then I know they would just complain.
Okay.
Thank you, Charles.
All right, Charles, you better get out of here before we ask more questions. You were the longest last year, too. Thanks so much for everything. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charles.
What we got next, Council Clerk?
Yes, sir. It will be the Public Works Department. We're on page 103. Oh, I'm so sorry. Communications Department, we're going to take next. I apologize, Val. Page 50.
Communications. $150 is fire administration. What is it?
50.
Oh, 50, I'm sorry. Okay.
Ready?
Let's go.
Okay.
Floor is yours.
All right. Good afternoon, council members. The Department of Kenner Communications submits for your consideration our total operating budget of $274,000 for the fiscal year 2024-25. This total number represents a 27.9% decrease from last year's adopted budget for this department. The major contributing factor to this significant decrease is the elimination of the Kenner Communications Director or the Public Information Officer salary line item from this budget. As you all know, I've absorbed the role of the Public Information Officer into my duties as the Mayor's Executive Coordinator of Intergovernmental Affairs, and therefore the funding for that position is in the Mayor's office budget. So that's the explanation for the decrease. Aside from that, I just want to remind you that most of this operating budget remains the same, and that Kenner Communications utilizes the PEG funding to basically pay for public access channel costs and equipment.
Thank you, Ms. Berlin. Any questions from the council? You've asked enough questions. Anybody? I'm trying. Councilwoman McKinney.
Yes, I just wanted to clarify, so that's a long-term job duty so they're not going to hire a new person, is the plan? They're not going to hire a new director, is the long-term plan for that position?
Oh, it's the current plan, yes. 'Cause
Okay.
Valerie's kind of filled that position.
Okay, so we don't, in the next year, we're not finding another Paris. She's in Paris now, okay. Just clarify.
Well, yeah, so Robin's pretty much the assistant director that's running it, so.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you for the presentation. Next up.
Next up would be the Public Works Department, page 103.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Floor is
Council.
yours.
This is the budget for the Public Works Department. Public Works is responsible for the drainage, streets.
Yeah, I don't think the
I'm
microphone.
sorry, Councilman. Good afternoon, Council. Public Works Departments are responsible for the streets, the drainage, the grass on the right-of-ways, parkways, maintaining trees and all the thoroughfares, and whatever else we need to take part in.
One of the major changes is moving field services into Public Works. So 3032 is no longer exists. We've moved those employees over to 3031. So it's just Public Works Administration, no more Field Services Administration. So you'll see those changes. That's what primarily drove the increase in the admin side of salaries and benefits. The department used to also take care of the generators, and that's moving back to general services. So that's the huge decrease in their repairs and maintenance account.
What I want to add to that is the Public Works Department is the largest department in the city. It's got roughly about 100 employees, multiple divisions, streets, drainage, street lights, traffic signals, parkways, wastewater, and fleet. This is a department that is responsible for maintaining roughly 225 miles of streets, roughly 40,000 drainage structures, which means catch basins, manholes, and so on, 20 traffic signals, 7,200 street lights. They also perform services pertaining to grass cutting. The Parkways Division deals with some amount of landscaping work and trees. They also provide matching funds for capital projects. One of the major divisions within that department is wastewater. And wastewater, as you all know, there's always issues with wastewater. We're dealing with roughly 84 sewer lift stations, 155 miles of gravity lines, and 35 miles of force mains. The system has been in place for roughly 60 years in relatively poor soil conditions. So it's the biggest department, roughly 100 employees, and they do good work. Of course, they do get quite a number of complaints because of the amount of work that they handle on a daily basis.
Questions? Councilwoman Dunn?
Yeah, thank you, Council President. I just want to know, because I know you all do a great job. Every time I call, whatever I need, it gets done. But I just want to know, are you all, with the 100 employees, are you all shorthanded? I'm just asking.
Yes, we are, Councilwoman.
Okay.
We are. We're still
just asking.
seriously shorthanded.
50? Okay.
I do have a question. The grass cutting, is that our employees in-house that do all of that around the city, or do we outsource? We do?
No, we
Okay.
do outsource the majority of it.
The majority of the grass
Yeah.
cutting? Okay. The one thing about the grass cutting is the curbs in the summertime with the weeds that grow out of them. That happens a lot. And George and I drives us nuts. And I know the manpower's short, but so we outsource most of the grass cutting.
That's correct.
But we do have some in-house
Yes.
people that do that.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Okay. That's all I had. Councilwoman McKinney?
Yes, thank you, Council President. I just have a couple of questions. I know that you eliminated they eliminated the Field Service Administration. Did all of those personnel move to, or are they basically within other positions? Like, no one was let go, right, because of the decrease?
No, that's
Right, yeah.
correct.
So
Yeah,
they
we-
just
we-
moved
we
into
all-
a different department, or?
Right. We've all
Okay.
become one big happy family.
Okay, great, perfect. And then for professional services, on page 98, it actually increased. Is that, I'm just curious, what is that? Does that cover grass cutting for administration, or what does that cover?
Which
There's,
division?
there was an increase, like a 27% increase in professional services, in the professional services in the Public Works Administration. I was just curious what that was related to. It's on page 98, so.
So a lot of time the city has to pay design consultants, so that's what that is. We have a lot of
Yeah.
projects that we're getting, federal and state funding, but the city has to cover, so that's what a lot of that is.
So a portion of those fees, okay. Thank you. Let's make sure.
And then I noticed that like there was an electrician, so that electrician just moved to another department, the street lighting department, I'm assuming, or?
Yes, that's correct, Councilwoman. Yeah, he
Okay,
went from
yes.
admin to streetlights.
Right. And also, I did notice that there was two traffic signal technicians previously, or no, actually, it looks like there's one, and you're adding one traffic signal
We're adding
technician,
one
that's
more.
good.
That's correct.
And is that a brand-new position, like you're hiring a new person for that?
Yeah, it's just an existing employee moving over.
Oh, it's just okay, so it'll be
Yes.
full, okay, perfect.
Correct.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? No.
Wastewater.
Yes, Joanne decided to pull it in behind us.
Finally came in.
All right, thank y'all so much for your time. Appreciate being here. Do y'all want to do lunch now? Do you want to do one more? It's up to y'all.
Well, we have a couple of departments here, sir. Can we get them done
do
and
it.
then we'll stop?
Let's do it. Okay.
The next up, I'm going to bring fleet management.
Where are we going? Where are we going? Where? Okay. Fleet management, okay.
Ms. Renata, good morning, or good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for coming.
To start off with us, I want to thank everybody for letting us get the Vector truck that you just brought up. As you can see, it was parked outside. We picked it up it was delivered to us yesterday. And they had a demonstration on how to operate it. Wastewater Public Works was there, so we can make sure everybody knows how to use it properly.
Beautiful.
And that will be, wastewater will have that one.
Okay.
And we have a word on, I'm going to tell them about the one.
You know, we pick up another one tomorrow. Good afternoon. Picking up one for wastewater tomorrow. The one we have from Chester Parish, about a year and a half back. It's finally finished. They're going over the final check today. They're going to call me this afternoon. We'll probably send somebody in the morning to pick that up, so that'll be all the Vector trucks back for the city.
We also were able to get 7 more pickup trucks to put on the road also. We sold the big high water trucks, and we got 6 in place of it.
And is the assistant shop foreman position, is that being eliminated, retirement,
The
or?
foreman,
Yes.
assistant foreman, yeah.
Retire?
We're just not gonna have that one.
Okay.
We really don't need it at this time.
Okay. All the other positions are filled?
I'm trying to get another mechanic in there right now.
Okay.
That's open.
You said we have 7 new trucks hitting the streets?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And are they just like the base model pickup truck?
Just the base model. It's
Base
just
model.
the F-150s.
Okay,
Single
And-
cab, long bed, just regular work trucks.
okay. Did we get rid of the old trucks?
We still have some that are going out, some due to accidents. We've had 2 that are just totally destroyed due to an accident.
Okay.
But we've been trying to get rid of all the older ones.
What about the 250s that were purchased after Ida?
That's the ones we were able to trade those in.
Okay, okay.
So we
those
traded
are
in
gone.
4 of those, and we got 6.
That's a good deal.
So
That's a real good deal.
And then we picked up some from Jefferson Parish, donated 5 trucks to us. One has a blown motor, and we probably won't do anything with that one, but the other 5, the other 4, we were able to get out. So each department was able to get 2 new vehicles.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you much.
Keep up the good work. Oh, Councilwoman D, I didn't,
Oh, It was just a joke. I wanted to tell Michelle on my way coming in, that big old truck turned in front of me and I almost ran into it. I just wanted to.
Thank you. Please don't do that.
Okay, so real quick, we'll take the wastewater department next. We're on page 192.
And then break.
And then
No.
Doug is here. Can we take Doug after wastewater and then take a break?
That's fine.
Thank you.
305.
Joanne Masonry arrived in style today, the new truck. What page?
Actually, they were on page 192,
Okay.
wastewater.
All right, Mr. Masonry, the floor is yours.
So for our 24-25 budget, we are requesting $9,940,018, which is a 9.4% increase. Presently, we have 35, we're budgeted for 35 employees. We have 5 vacancies. We're adding 4 positions. We're trying to hire more construction workers to be able to do the sidewalks in-house, to try to stop relying on contractors and to cut costs with that. There is an increase in some of the budgets because of professional services, sludge hauling, repairs and maintenance. As y'all can see from the purchases that come on the agendas, that the costs keep going up, and most of the pump companies and motor companies, they have several increases a year in the prices, so we're trying to maintain what we have. We still have old infrastructure and pumps, and so we're trying to bring those up to date, getting new pumps in place of old pumps. So, and that's what we would like to continue to do. Our infrastructure the first plant was built in 1964, it's 60 years old, so our infrastructure is pretty much that old and not getting any better. Yes, yes, sir. Which we get used 7 days a week. But not just for,
Normally, when we do things, it starts with District 1, introduction, and goes through 5. If you could start this backwards with that new truck in District 5, it would be greatly appreciated.
okay, yes. It'll be used council-wide, citywide. And it's also we also use it just for service requests, to clean out lift station wet wells when the guys are repairing lines, to suck the water out of the lines, tanks.
Not
at the
worried
plant.
about any of that. Could you get it in District 5? The request.
It will be on your block this afternoon.
Yes.
That's fine, that's fine.
Just don't run into it.
Councilwoman Dunaway from that truck.
Is there any perspective, funding coming from either the hurricane claim or FEMA in relation to maintenance or damages to the wastewater system?
Nothing major
Yeah.
from Ida, no.
Because there was already existing issues before, I'm sure, based on the emergency repairs we make, and it's just a system that's been in place for how long?
At least 60 years. is
60
my-
years. Okay.
Yeah. And we did receive the rate study back. We have proposed some changes to the rates, and that will be up for your vote the June 6th meeting as well. So same meeting as the budget. They recommended what we should go to, and so the first step is to make the change, and then we'll have a resolution accepting the rate study and some more things coming forward. But to really get our debt coverage ratio under control and being able to make some of these repairs, it's just necessary. This year, the general fund is having to subsidize to make sure that, the wastewater system can still run. So we're giving $3 million to them out of the general fund this year. So working towards more of a updated rate. The rates hadn't been updated in so long, besides just doing a simple CPI every year. So that'll be up for y'all's consideration
That's
at
a
the
big
June
jump.
6th meeting.
The 3 million is a big jump from,
Yeah.
is that the most ever?
So, yeah, so we, the last few years, it's been around 2 million, and it went up $1 million, so.
Okay.
Some of the stuff he says.
Oh, my God. Councilwoman McKinney.
She just has one question.
Get ready.
Thank you, Council President. Ignore the peanut gallery over there, please.
Well, Natalie won't let me eat lunch.
I guess my only question is, now I lost my train of thought. Thanks. I'm going to just continue to talk over and over again until I remember it.
We need a lunch break. I keep telling you that.
I have no train of thought. If I think of it, I'll ask it later. Not really that
I think
important.
we're all very, very much in tune to what you deal with every day. You do a great job. And it's, we know there's a lot of problems with wastewater. So, but congratulations on the new truck. Glad we got it last September for you.
Yes.
So hopefully that really helps everybody.
Yeah, we appreciate all the support that you give us.
Absolutely. Anybody else?
I remember now.
Christy McKinney.
I just wanted to know if is there anything in the capital budget specifically for wastewater?
No, so besides them just having the LDEQ loans to make major repairs is really how we fund that. There's nothing else set aside.
Dedicated. Great, thank you. Quick question, wasting more time.
Councilman Wilmot.
Thank you. And just if you can update us on the clarifiers?
We sent out the notice to proceed for the construction yesterday to the contractors, because we're to the point that now they've gotten all their submittals in for everything, and so it'll be the time period. We didn't want to give it too early because the contract time would have run out before all the equipment was in. So they received it, they're going to start June 1st.
Start when?
June 1st.
And how many clarifiers are we talking about?
4. They're going to be
All
repaired.
4?
All 4, the original ones when the plant was built from 1986.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilman Schwartz.
I don't know if I missed this or not, but the amount of money that we receive from wastewater fees to our just operating budget, okay? How much of a deficit? Are we running a profit? Are we running a deficit on that? Liv?
Are you asking just overall, are we running a deficit? Yeah, $3 million. General fund is having to give them $3 million just to cover costs.
$3 million just
That
to
includes
cover.
paying off our debt.
Yeah, and that's not money that we're services that we're giving, and we're not getting money for those services.
Correct.
$3 million short. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Next department, Emergency Management, Doug Dote, and that will be on page 68.
Mr. Dote, if you give us just an opening.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, members of the council. My name is Doug Dote. I'm the Director of Emergency Management. With me is my Assistant Director, John Cryer. The department coordinates emergency preparedness and response activities across all of our municipal agencies. We accomplish this through extensive planning and coordination with 25 city departments on a year-round basis. Our office staff and facilities include an emergency operations center, are available for activation on a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week basis. Since last July, the city has issued 11 local emergency proclamations to address the ongoing Hurricane Ida-related recovery activities. 5 additional proclamations were issued to address the city's saltwater intrusion response between September and January. Some of the more significant weather events that we addressed during the past fiscal year include an EFO tornado touching down in South Canada on September 2nd, 2023, a winter event January 15th and 16th of 2024, an East Bank-wide waterline break occurred in January 2024, and a significant rain event occurred on April 10th, 2024, which resulted in citywide street-level flooding. Fortunately, we did not have any tropical impacts this past year. Aside from weather, we daily monitor public health, utility disruptions, street closures, levee conditions, cyber events, rail and airport situations, and other homeland security and public safety issues affecting the region. We issued over 140 weather advisories and another 285 situational awareness notices during the past fiscal year. We participate in detailed planning for special events, including the ISIS and Driftwood parades. We monitor and provide weather updates for festivals and outdoor activities occurring year-round. Our department administers 22 different emergency management-related intergovernmental cooperating agreements and contracts. We represent the city on a number of parish-level committees, including the multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation planning, local emergency planning, and homeland security committees. Our office assists the police and fire departments, public works department, and the Federal Programs Compliance Office in identifying suitable mitigation projects eligible for hazard mitigation grant funding. The department continues to acquire much of its EOC equipment using annual Homeland Security grants. Last year, our police, fire, and emergency management departments benefited from approximately $88,000 worth of grants acquired through the Homeland Security Committee under 3 grants, SHISHIP, UASI, and the EMPG. Our current staffing level is 4. Over the past year, we've adopted a policy to increase staffing on on-call and for on-call availability for after-hours incidents. 2 staff members recently completed FEMA's National Emergency Management Basic Academy, and additional staff training was obtained in continuity of government operations, incident management, infrastructure protection and resiliency, and grants administration. We're approaching the start of what is expected to be a very active storm season, according to weather scientists. The Emergency Management Department is updating our local plans along with our police, fire, and all of our municipal departments. Our communications staff is updating public information on city social media platforms, and we are meeting with parish, state, and federal agencies to coordinate regional response. Our office will also be conducting meetings with response partners, department heads, emergency vendors, non-governmental entities, and this council within the next month or so. The Emergency Management Department staff remains committed to working with the administration and this council to identify their priorities and to work toward continued improvement in our Homeland Security and disaster preparedness, response, and recovery programs and activities. Our total budget is $485,942, representing 1% of the city's overall budget. I will be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? Councilwoman McKinney?
Thank you, Council President. I just want to say that I think your department is really, an integral part in the city, and I think appreciate all the work that you do. The only question I have is professional services. What falls under professional services within the budget, and then let us know how we can assist. I know we partnered previously with some capital items. If you need anything in the future, I know that we'll be willing to work with you guys.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the support that the council has given us in the past, particularly for our public works and general services departments, and making sure we have those supplies and equipment needed for the guys in the field to go out and address these storms. As far as professional services, is the only area that you see a significant increase in our budget this year, and that is due directly to our need to redraft or update our debris management plan. Our last plan update was in 2016. The debris plan has to be updated in order to comply with FEMA and DEQ requirements and to make sure that our local temporary debris collection sites are in compliance. And we'll be doing that this year.
Great, thank you.
Councilman Wilmot?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment more than anything. We really appreciate you, Mr. Dote, and your department. I've seen you in action quite a few times, and it's just invaluable information, and you keep us informed, so we know what to do. You keep the administration informed. I know you work closely with the parish and the state, GOSEF, and all that's just critical. And it gets us out front so we can act accordingly. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Councilman Schwartz?
Director, as being a retired fireman, I know planning for disasters is thing that we have to do. Staying ahead of it, being proactive, and guessing what might happen, will happen, more or less Murphy's Law. Doing a great job, just staying on top of it, and just continue.
Thank you, sir.
All right, nothing from me. I think that's it. Mr. Doe, thank you for a great job, and thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to do a 30-minute lunch break. We'll reconvene about 30 minutes, and after that, we should be able to get through. We only have a few left. Code Enforcement and General Services, IT, Council, and the Mayor's Office. Thank y'all. Natalie here. Let's take Catherine with code enforcement. You ready? All right. We need to do code enforcement. Catherine's sitting back there.
Okay.
Let's do that.
That is on page. Thank you.
94.
I threw in my voice.
All right, Director Topple, the floor is yours.
Okay, where are we? Code enforcement.
Oh, there we go. Okay, I don't have much change in my budget this year.
Okay.
It's for the most part, everything that administration recommended, I agreed with. You know, we kept our grass cutting up higher so we can stay after that like we have been. And then I had already given some raises to bring them up in line with where they should have been over the years that they didn't get. So I've already done that. And the demolition, we're keeping up a little higher. We are seeing some luck with some of the demolitions we're pursuing. We have a couple in the works right now that one of them, which is going to be rather expensive, once we started sending out the paperwork, we got a phone call and they sent us all the information that from their insurance company that they've been battling. So now we're still moving forward at this point to try to force the issue to make sure the insurance company doesn't backtrack. But they're going to have the funding available to make all the repairs themselves, and that's a big duplex or fourplex that's got the whole half wall missing. So we are seeing some luck with that. We have one coming up on May 17th that we might get lucky on. We're still pursuing the demolition, but there is heirs to the property. So we may get lucky and get some reimbursement on that as opposed to just leaning the property. So we're going to keep the demolitions up there, but we are starting to see some repairs of some of these structures that are out there. I know Councilwoman Dunn has a couple next to each other that are horrible condition. And horrible, should be brought down for sure. And now we have permits in that have been applied for demolition. So, we have a lot of insurance monies and proceeds being released finally from Hurricane Ida. So we're starting to see some positive repairs being done. We had another big duplex that we were going to bring in eventually, and that's now been repaired. So a lot of these are just now getting released, the back and forth with the insurance company. So I think we'll be good here. I'll be able to concentrate on those properties I need to concentrate on, as opposed to these that are still damaged from Ida. My capital requests, because really everything else is really staying the same as we have. We tried to limit what we're buying and spending, and I'm trying to live it now that we've got more of a full staff in the clerks, where we hadn't been before. I'm limiting overtime. Now during the business license renewal season, I'll have them coming in and they'll be earning comp time, because we have thousands of occupational licenses out there, as you can imagine, and that is very detail-oriented and a lot of work. So, and then my capital, I'm requesting another inspector truck. We did get one this year, which I'm grateful for. And we have other vehicles that are just falling apart over the years. And so my goal is to request one per year. I think 2 more and we might be good. Then we have a good solid structure of vehicles in the department. And then also my inspectors are using iPads from, we were guesstimating, but we think maybe 2018. And if you're familiar at all with electronics, 2018 iPads are very outdated and slow and can't be updated anymore. So we're running into a lot of technical issues with them out in the field with their iPads, and that's where they access all the software. So I'd like to replace all of their iPads at once, so we have a good working system out in the field. That's it.
Okay. The positions listed on page 96, are they all filled, or you're still trying to fill spots?
Let me pull my list up. Well, I walked out, must have left my list on my desk. They're mostly filled. Here we go, I got it. We have a couple that we're still working on. We did fill our residential plan reviewer. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, so we have her training.
Great. Now, Jamie Shorkey was the only one you had for a while.
Correct. Now we have Kayla, and she's been a couple weeks now with us.
Great.
So she's in training. So yes, we were able to fill that. And we do have a plan reviewer part-time still, so that's good. And then the clerks, those are almost all filled. There's one clerk that may be moving up to another position that's open right now. Assistant office manager is open. So they might open that up, but we're actually pretty full. We don't have an electrical inspector. That is still being published. It's still advertised. We just have not received any qualified candidates for that position. So we're going to continue to advertise because, again, we did receive our residential plan reviewer out of the blue, and she's working out really well. She's a fairly recent graduate, and she, being residential, that's great for her to step into and great for us as well. And she's already making headway with the residential plan review.
Any other questions from Ms. Topple? Councilman Brennan?
Let me turn it off.
I don't know what that cost was. I did request 80,000. I believe it was under 70, and we're just allowing room for inflation, if you will. I'd have to refer to Sue and Fleet. I honestly don't know what that final cost was. We had requested it a while ago, and then it came in, so I don't have that. I apologize.
And just to be clear, for vehicles, we don't budget directly for departments. So although that is a request she had during the time we met with her, that's not something that's built into the budget. We allocate a flat amount in the fleet department, and then the administration makes decisions on what is priority.
Is that the same with the iPads that she's talking about?
Yeah, the iPad should be something that they can cover, I believe they can cover in their budget. So that's not included in the capital request.
Okay, and how many iPads are you talking about?
10. 650 to 700 apiece. It's about 7,000. And that was working with IT to get that cost.
Anybody else? Right. Councilman Schwartz?
Ms. Catherine, I know I'm always on you to get things done. Like Ms. D, I've got several homes where the residents have passed, and we either can't find a surviving relative or they don't have a relative, and there's no way to get rid of the property. I know we need to work closer with Jefferson Parish, the assessor's office, and with the sheriff's office, getting these properties adjudicated, whatever we need, so we can get rid of them. The one that we have, the property, 12 years now, we've been cutting the grass on one lot for 12 years. Pretty soon, the tax is going to be worth or more than what the property is actually going to be worth, sooner or later. The other thing I want to ask is, when it comes to the demolition of the homes, things like that, I know the last one was like $23,000. Were we able to negotiate the price down? Do you remember? It was pipe works. I may be able to come up with it later, but it was a couple meetings back that we had.
Right, that was the actual price that was given to us for that
Right.
particular demolition. And that was partially a commercial structure, so there was a lot more involved in that. There was a lot of asbestos removal.
Yeah.
You talk about Farrar, 200.
No, it was,
Talking in Lincoln Manor and,
yeah, this is,
Akron.
Oh, the small home?
Yeah, the small
That was, I did go back to the contractor and explain that I thought that was a rather extensive amount for that demolition, but that was the price that was quoted that we ended up paying for that. And it was based on the equipment getting in and safely demolishing it between two other structures. So,
now, I'm almost positive with that we have an excavator over there at Public Works. And we do it. What's the chances of doing it in-house?
absolutely not. They would have to be
Because-
trained they would have to be trained in demolition in order to safely demolish a structure. Yeah, we tried that up north in Indiana, and they actually went through training, and it was a mess, because they don't have all the qualifications that a large equipment operator is going to have regarding demolition of a structure, and which corner to take down first, where to go from here. No, that should not be done in-house. I can't support that at all. It's
Yeah.
a safety factor right there. It's to not just us, but the neighbors.
Okay.
And-
Good.
I would love that.
A fireman would probably do it very cheap, okay?
Councilman, there's also a tremendous amount of liability and expense that you have to. Most of these companies have the crane operator certification. You also have to have your set amount of insurance for those types of pieces of equipment. And the liability, if you swing that heavy piece of equipment and it hits something other than what it's intended to do so, you're responsible for that as well. And demolition is better handled in the hands of professionals that do this on a daily basis.
Oh, and I would note also too, in these older structures, they always have asbestos in some form or fashion, and that has to be dealt with by a licensed professional regarding the asbestos removal and encasement, and then transportation to the landfill. So that would be actually somebody else that we'd have to contract out with to get that done, whereas your demolition contractor, that's all kind of folded in with the prices that you get.
Okay. So I'm just looking at, so our personnel that we have are not certified to operate that machine?
No, they're certified to operate those machines, but in
Not to do
terms of,
demolition.
excavating and things of the nature, demolition is a different thing from the excavation. So it's what you're doing. If you're digging in the ground, that's one thing, but when you're knocking buildings down, it becomes another.
You can knock down the wrong corner and have it collapse in a different location and then damage the neighbor's property. It could be just as simple as falling on the neighbor's property, and that opens the city up for huge liability.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, Ronnie, I really thank you, Mr. President, because the property on Farrow, the tree is literally on the other people's homes. So if you get a company in there that really don't know what they're doing, and that tree go through their roof, that company that's tearing it down is liable. So
Correct.
basically, I do understand that on the property that we are dealing with on Farrow Street. I just have a couple of questions. One, are we in the position now with all the people with the blue tops?
We're pursuing those now.
Okay.
Absolutely. We actually had a bunch up at court last week, or 2 weeks ago, and then we have a bunch coming up at court again tomorrow. But we've been pursuing that. We've been leaving them violations for 30 days.
Okay.
And hoping to get some type of response. We have received some insurance information that we've put in the folders with some of them because they're still battling, or they're waiting on the check. They finally got the resolution, now they're just waiting on the check. So we have those put away, but the others then we're bringing into court. So yeah, we are pursuing all the blue roofs.
Okay, Restore Louisiana, are they going to take down, do you have the permits now for Banbridge Street for those two? That's the gathering.
Not yet.
Because the constituents, they are constantly asking.
Yes, no, we have them applied for, but we have not issued yet.
Okay, and my last thing I want to ask about, because we just recently again got churches complaining to go to the news media to do whatever about the property that the city owned to put the fire station. This lady is still complaining the grass is above everybody's head. I don't know what to do about that because she's.
Because it's city-owned, I deal with private
Right.
properties, not city properties, so I defer to Amy.
Councilwoman, we're going to be in the process of cleaning up the pardon me, the surcharge at that site, because we'll be repurposing that surcharge at a certain point. So a lot of that will be removed from the site probably within the next coming months.
Month, okay. Can we give an update to stop the lady that, I'm assuming she's the manager for churches. You know, I don't like negative publicity on the city. So she recently, within what, a day or so, or a week, and asked, stating again that nothing has been done. Can we give her an update?
Yes, ma'am, and if you'd like, if you can give me her phone number, I'll reach out to her personally.
Okay, I'll have Viviana give that to you because again, you know, I believe that she's going to end up calling News Scene 8 and, you know. Okay, I think basically that's it. Catherine, you know I'm calling you, but she definitely answers my call. And, you know, you have those little situations where you're going to get repeat calls, but, you know, but we're doing our best. And I know Code is doing their best. And we just got a new code director in our area, and
New code inspector for your area,
yeah.
yes.
So, you know,
And
and I
would
really appreciate it.
just add that the vehicles that are out there, I'm working with city legal. We came up with a draft to change the regulations. But the regulations that we currently have were put in place after Hurricane Katrina, when there was a really big need to allow time and multiple notifications to people to address the abandoned vehicles because, you know, as we know, Hurricane Katrina decimated the area.
Yeah.
So we're looking at updating you know, that can be handled in the future by an order from the mayor, but we're looking at updating our abandoned vehicle ordinance, and legal's working on it right now. I gave them my draft where we will be able to tow off of private and public much quicker and easier than what we currently do. So that should be coming very quickly.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
I'll support that. Anybody else? All right, Catherine, thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Good presentation. What we got next?
Next up, we have General Services, page 112.
Mr. Glorioso. Floor is yours.
Good afternoon, Council. Good afternoon. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Let's roll. What you got?
All right, quick description real quick. Our functions for the General Service Division provides maintenance of air heating systems, plumbing systems, as well as repairs, including carpentry, electrical, painting for approximately 71 facilities throughout the city of Kenner. General Services is in charge of installing and removing holiday decor in Rivertown, which I think everybody agrees was phenomenal this past year. And we plan on doing even a better job this year. On top of that, we set up all special events as far as planning, directing, erecting, breaking down, setting up, and everything in between. We also provide tents for outside special events along with tables, chairs, and other items. And we do multiple things, including installing a kitchen sink. So with that, we have a proposed operating budget for next year of $3.3 million. This past year, we had one at 2.9. We projected to be right around that, maybe come in about $70,000 less than what we had originally expected. So next year, we're asking for an increase of $390,000.
Councilman Brannigan.
One of your line items is 199% increase.
199,000% increase.
199,000% increase.
That's got to be a typo.
It's not.
225,000.
No, it's not a typo.
It's not. So that's the generators that I mentioned earlier. That was moving from Public Works.
Yeah, that's because
over.
the generators are coming now over to our department that came over from Public Works.
Oh, okay, okay.
And I think she told you that, and Public Works was sitting up here.
Didn't put two and two together.
Yeah, so that's the majority of their increase. That's at 225,000 right there of that 300,000.
Okay.
I had nothing to do with them
Who's
truck
driving
purchases.
those trucks?
Anybody else?
I do. I have a question.
Councilman D, done?
Okay. Thank you, Council President. Buddy Lawson, just one question. Will they need an AC? And I know, early on, we were having a little issue with them last year or something, but will they need an AC unit? They will?
I think we have one unit that is down, so we're only operating on one, but it's doing its job right now. So at some point, we will need to address that.
Okay, and the other thing I want to ask, I guess this is for Liz. What are service charges on here? 26,000 in service charges? What is that? That's not, no capital outlay? No. Supplies? Well, the one that's 386,000%.
The categories that all of our accounts roll into is salaries and benefits, so that, like that cover summary sheet that you see will show supplies, and then when you go to that second sheet, it's gonna break down everything that has to do with supplies. So you got office supplies, departmental supplies, food and refreshments, uniforms, janitorial supplies, repairs and maintenance, and it's the same thing for service charges. So if you got professional services, communications, advertising and publishing, copying and duplication, repairs and maintenance, and travel and professional development. So those are all the accounts that make up the category of service charges. The reason that's that huge increase is because of that repairs and maintenance account, which is the generators.
Okay. Anybody else? Councilman Schwartz?
Mark, you're a man that will wear many hats. You do a very, very good job.
Well, thank you.
No
We
matter
try.
if you're setting up the stage or putting out barricades or cones, whatever you do, y'all do a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Whenever I ask you to do something, I can bet it's going to be done and soon. Those signs look great over there
Thank
by the
you.
playground.
Sorry it took longer than you expected.
They're there, okay? But I can't say any more. You fantastic job, buddy.
Thank you. Real quick, just to let y'all know also, we currently have 9 open positions. And as Charles was up here saying earlier, getting people to come in and interview and apply for them is an issue. We had 4 interviews set up in the last month, and 3 of the people didn't show up. We had one scheduled for this morning at 9:30. They didn't even show up. So it's a problem all around. It's not just recreation. Every department has a staffing issue, and we're trying the best we can to address that.
Councilwoman McKinney?
Yes, thank you, Council President. I just want to say that I've never seen you wear that many hats, but Dee is a person of many hats.
Yeah, she's got me outnumbered there.
Councilman Brannigan?
Why does the equipment match your shirt?
I don't know what to tell you there. I like to be color coordinated. That's all I can say.
No, many colors.
All right. I think that's it, Mark. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
You're always here. Doesn't matter that. What's next, Natalie? Okay. Guys, thank y'all for being here. I don't need my password amended today, first time ever. All right, floor is yours.
We have a lot of projects going on right now. We are currently in the process of upgrading our phone system from Mitel to Ring Central. That comes with a one-time cost and a recurring cost. We are also in the process of replacing the access control system, like the badge swipe to open the doors and all that. We're also going to be rolling out, we already rolled out cameras at a lot of locations, and we still have a lot more to do. All of the gyms are going to be getting cameras.
Can all the bathrooms get them too?
No.
I mean, not in an inappropriate way, jeez.
That
No.
was not what didn't come out right. Sorry.
We're replacing the time system with one that integrates into the Munis system. So all the time clocks are going to get replaced with new time clocks. Oh yes, we're introducing a two-factor system in order to log into your computers very shortly. So that's going to be coming very soon. And
Great, something else to forget.
yeah. Well, it's going to be a thing on your keychain that produces a 6-digit number. And you just push the button, it generates a different number every 30 seconds. And so you're going to have that in order to log in.
The next thing is going to be, I lost my keychain. I'm
just-
sorry.
It's fine. If you lose it, it's just $200 to replace it. So
We gave the at-large people some money, so you can ask them.
I think that's all the projects we have going at the moment. So yeah. Oh yes, all of our positions are filled. Yes.
What's the increase on the software maintenance, the 19.7%?
The time system mainly.
Okay.
The new clocks and time system.
Okay.
And a little bit of it is the two-factor solution that I was just mentioning
Okay.
with the 6 digits.
Makes sense. Anybody else? I think Councilman Schwartz.
For one, you know I'm hard on Caden, but he's a great kid, and I'm gonna make a ball player out of him yet. And two, next week, say hello to Mickey for me. All right?
I sure will. You're doing a great job with Kenner baseball, by the way. If anybody hasn't gone to the Kenner baseball games, you should definitely go. I've done the other side, and the Kenner baseball is way better. Just so y'all know. And Ronnie's a big part of that. That's the reason why.
Councilman McKinney.
Thank you, Council President. I just have a question. I know you guys are overall decreasing your budget, and I just wanted to find out why, and also, or get an explanation. And also, I know you mentioned a lot of the projects you're working on. So what are your IT priorities for the year? For next year, I guess, because you're working on stuff now too, right?
So I think we are going lower because we had a lot of accounts that were no longer in use, right?
We had asked a little too much last year.
Okay.
We asked a little bit too much last year.
So you're being more conservative. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. And then our immediate priority is going to be the time system because of a timetable that we're on, but simultaneously redoing all the radios in time for storm season. Those are our immediate things. And then two-factor as well, because we need to do that to be compliant.
Two-factor verification? Is that
Yeah,
what
the
you-
two-factor verification, yeah. And
So wait, what is that going to entail? Is that like for internal employees? Is that internal or?
The two-factor?
Yeah.
The two-factor, basically, there's going to be a software that gets installed on everybody's computer. And what will happen is when you type in your password and hit enter, it will then ask you for that second form of identification. So it's going to entail us going to every laptop.
You're
and
like VPN in and all that stuff.
the VPN will also have two-factor as well, which is going to be a separate rollout. It's going to come a little after the login rollout. But basically, it entails us going around installing software on every computer.
Okay, so it's gonna affect all of us as well, right?
Yes, everybody that has a city
Never open my computer again.
Just forget or has to access city email is going to have to be two factors.
I know y'all don't like it, but it's required to keep our cybersecurity insurance.
I mean, I love it when, with energy, I mean, let's just do it for every computer I have. Love it.
Yep.
It's multi-factor, so they also call it two-fact secure.
What do you think of this stuff?
Thank you.
Thanks so
Okay.
much. I
No
think
problem.
that's all. We appreciate your presentation. Council Clerk, we got two left?
Have sanitation next. I think Liz is going to do sanitation.
What page?
Sanitation is going to be on page 141.
The biggest change, obviously, is the expenses that we are paying to our providers has gone up, but also the revenue, putting in place a new rate is a change as well. Huge changes that you'll see is how much the general fund has been paying. So we paid 1.5 million in 22-23. We projected another 1.5, but looks like we're only going to have to supplement it by 524,000 this current year and only 50,000 next year. So moving in the right direction. This is the service we provide to our residents, but they should be paying for that service. So it's really the big change. So the general fund does not have to pay as much anymore.
Any questions on sanitation? Thanks, Liz. Next.
Yes. Any questions for the council office budget?
I don't think so.
All right. Next, we have the mayor's office. Any questions for the mayor's office?
Mr. Mayor?
Nothing's really, they changed my mic. Actually, nothing's really changed. It's the same and probably will remain that way. The only, I guess, the only thing we're still trying to get is a public works director. It's not funded because we're still not, 100% sure we can find someone that's qualified enough to pass Jose's, thumbs up or not. So that's it. That'd be the only change that we would ask in the budget later if and when something like that comes around.
That's your last department, sir. You're done.
Is that it?
Yes, sir.
Are we done?
General municipal, we need to ask about general municipal.
No, you
Go
don't.
for it.
That's where we're hiding the money.
Exactly.
I was told in the past that we don't discuss that part of the budget.
Okay.
All right.
Go ahead. Councilman McKinney?
Okay, yes, I just have a couple of questions on, on page 66, which is general municipal. I just was wondering if you could explain the increase or what is spent on professional services, promotion and tourism, as well as special events.
So special events is what funds like music in the park, things like that, anything that the city is putting on. They do try to get donations, and that goes into that account as well, but that's what majority of those type of events. So our payment for tourism is the money we get in for tourism. We are paying out to Visit Kenner for different events.
Okay, so that, the 200,000 is for Visit Kenner, like you pay it to Visit
Yeah,
Kenner?
it's not necessarily that they'll get the 200. They submit a budget to us and we pay them,
Okay.
you know, based on that. But that money is coming from the tourism dollars that we receive.
Okay. And then professional services, I was just wondering what that sees for.
Yeah, it's a mixture of things. A lot of it is sometimes if there's illegal fees that are related to the entire city, they'll be there. Our, like Chris Cool, Jedco.
That's what Jedco's paid?
Jedco's paid out of
Okay.
that, yep. All of our like filing fees, when we have to file and record contracts, goes out of that account. Anytime we have any type of like appraisal reports for insurance purposes, things like that. So just more like vague citywide professional service needs.
Okay. Okay, that's all I have.
Anybody else? Are we done?
Yep, you done.
Oh, what about utilities? Why are they going up?
Yeah, so the utility fund is covering.
The mayor wants that gavel.
I'm not, and I'm not asking as an employee of energy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, all those bills we keep getting. But no, the street lights used to be charged to the millage, the street millage, but this year we moved all those bills into the utility fund, and so that the millage could truly be used for more repairs.
Okay, but so this will be a year over year?
Yes.
Consistently, okay.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
Have a great weekend.